Hey everybody. I was trying to change the time because I just realized that Megan is with um with Max. So I was trying to change the time, y'all. I apologize. I should have changed it. And I know it's not good for us both to be live at the same time. So I was gonna postpone ours until theirs was finished. What do y'all think? What do y'all think, guys? I was gonna postpone ours until because I want to keep you guys from watching hers. Because I think they saying some. You said no, we can watch her later. What happened? Somebody send me a congratulation. What happened, y'all? That I'm getting a congratulation. Megan is live with Max Chart. He'll be with us on Thursday. So I was going to change hours. Somebody could put her thing in the chat if y'all wanted to go see her. Oh, y'all saying no. Okay, y'all saying no. Okay. Y'all saying no. Y'all saying no. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay, y'all say you're gonna stay right here with me. Okay. Y'all, listen, I was taking my old person nap and I overslept and I went past our time. And I was trying to all right, guys, I got some stuff to talk to you guys about. And Randa's up too. Everybody's gone live. Randa's gone live as well. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead on and tell you guys. I got some message for you. I reached out to the other side, right? Reached out to find out whether or not. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay. Okay, never mind. Okay. Okay, all right. Listen. I reached out to the other side, the state side, and to find out, what is the next step and what is happening, what's gonna go on, and things like that. So I did get a message back, y'all. And the message that I got back was, hold on, I'm gonna read it to you guys. It says here. It says, "Good morning, Sylvia. This trial is very depressing. What happened had to happen. Everyone is so jubilant about the decision, but no one sees the hours of work and manpower it took to get where we are. First of all, the preparation and planning from the judge and his staff, the jury clerk's office sending out hundreds of jury summons and planning for their arrival, along with daily jurors that comes in each day. The Fulton County Clerk of Superior Court Office, staffing and accountability of recording and managing records for every juror. The Sheriff's Office, SWAT, and especially hundreds of citizens slash jurors who came down and gave their time for this case. And not to forget the media, who had to dedicate their time and manpower, not a good time for the court, and the families that they still have to find justice for, because at the end of the day, we still have two deceased individual and no justice. So we wait to see where Judge Ingram take us from here. Start over or take what we have and move on. The latter sounds good, but not logical and likely. The defense will definitely file a motion to remove this juror, possibly because they feel it's tainted. So at this point, we wait. Don't want to start this trial all over again. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear the message? Should I reread it? Should I reread this? All right, let's read again. They said read it again. Okay. All right, y'all ready? Here we go. It says, "Good morning, Sylvia. This trial is very depressing. What happened had to happen. Everyone is so jubilant about the decision, but no one sees the hours of work and manpower it took to get where we were. First of all, the preparation and planning for the judge and his staff. The jury clerk office sending out hundreds of jury summons and planning their arrival, along with daily jurors that comes in each day. The Fulton County Clerk of Superior Court's office staffing and accountability of recording and managing records for every juror. The Sheriff's Department, SWAT, and especially the hundreds of citizens slash jurors who came down and gave their time for this case. Not to forget the media, who had to dedicate their time and manpower. Not a good time for the court and the families that they still have to find justice for. Because at the end of the day, we still have two deceased individuals who know and no justice. So we wait to see where Judge Ingram take us from here. Start over or take what we have and move on. The latter sounds good, but not logical and likely. The defense will definitely file a motion to remove this juror, possibly because they feel it's tainted. So at this point, we wait. Don't want to start this trial all over again. All right? All right. And then I got a message from the family. Um, hold on. Hold on. Got news, people. Hold on. All right, guys, that was some 411 I got. So, okay, one of the outlets just asked me to be able to be their person because this cost them. This is what I was talking about. Get ready to talk about with the woes. See, God, let's see how God lined things up. Well, they asked me to basically be the freelancer for them. Be the freelancer for them for the information that's going to come about. Now, the hearing, most likely there's going to be a hearing next week, right? And they were telling me about the speedy trial, um, because this case has a speedy trial attached to it, right? And they said here, let me pull this up because that's what I was looking up. What the law says on that. What the law says on that. It says here, and they said to go to section E, right? Section E. Listen to this is what they said right here. Anybody who wants to know where this is in the Georgia 2022 Georgia Code, Title 17, Criminal Procedure, Chapter 7, Pretrial Proceeding, Chapter 7, Demand for a Trial, Announcement and Readiness for a Trial, 17-7170, Demand for a Speedy Trial. This is what they're talking about. Demand for a speedy trial and service, discharge, and acquittal for lack of prosecution, expiration, reversal on direct appeal, mistrial and retrial, special pleas, and incompetency. Okay. Now they said to go here to section E. He says, if the case in which a demand for speedy trial has been filed as provided in this code section results in a mistrial, the case shall be tried at the next preceding regular term of court. That means that if the judge do a mistrial, right, and if it's not one that has with prejudice, they have to have the trial to start immediately, right after within the next term. So they have to heavy rush and start it over, right? But here's the deal. That's going to be a problem because you know what? They got to go the whole if it goes into a mistrial, they have to get a whole new jury. They have to get a whole new jury. Can't use that same old jury. MC said it's not going to happen. Okay. Okay. I mean, I'm just giving you guys the information that was just relayed to me, the possibility of a retrial. Okay. Because there is going to be motions pounding. Boom, 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 boom. There's going to be motions. And I know for a fact, Weinstein has 2 motions. Steele has at least 4 motions right now still hanging out there. And he's filing more motion. Okay, that's one of the reasons why he's not doing any kind of interviews. Because when I spoke with him, he is not doing any kind of interviews because I tried to get him first. He's not doing an interview because he got motions on top of motions to file. Okay, so the defense is going to pound, 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 and anything they see that's an error, even the error in the ruling recently that Judge Glanville did, they're going to pound, pound, pound. They're going to wear it out. So it's going to be very interesting, y'all. It's going to be very, 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 very interesting, y'all. Very interesting. It's a lot of stuff that's going to come on. Very interesting. Remember, you got 6 lawyers now. Well, 2 of them. One is not really going to do much. That's Lil Rod's attorney. But the rest, they're going to be pounding. That jury selection alone is going to be crazy if they have to redo jury selection. If. That's how I said if. Can I interview Misty? Who's Misty? Who's Misty? Oh, they got the momentum now with this win. This is a win for them, right? This recusal, because this is what they've been asking for. This is like a win for them. Oh, Misty is Miss D. Williams. Oh, okay, okay. Her name is. I thought her name was Angela, so I don't know where to get Misty from. Her name is Angela. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and talk to you guys about what the message, what I was getting ready to talk to you guys today about. By definition, the word woe means, I've got to pull up my definition here. Hold on. The word woe means great sorrow or distress, things that causes sorrow, trouble, distress. Okay. And I titled this The Shocking Truth About the Woes. In this particular trial, y'all, there's been so much happening. So much. Okay. From the beginning of when they first got indicted, they were not given the opportunity to be able to get a bail. I'm talking about the defendants, right? Then you had, once the trial started, you had a whole bunch of crazy stuff happening at the trial. Okay, you have things like drugs being passed. You have a whole bunch of family members, girlfriends going to jail, right? You have a whole bunch of that happening. You have individuals being stabbed. You have individuals being shanked. You have family members passing away while the individuals are in jail. You have the judge getting sick, like literally sick while he's on the bench and have to get up, and then all of a sudden he has to be rushed to the hospital. You have family members being arrested. Mentioned that. Not only do you have family members, you have individuals who came to the trial being arrested for a different reason. Some was because they had a phone. Some was because they're being accused of bringing drugs. You just had so many things going on, right? You had so many things that you guys knew nothing about that was happening. And because I had the opportunity of being in the courthouse, I witnessed some of these occurrences, right? You have the officers being arrested for certain things within the jail. You had officers that was arrested. A couple of them was arrested because of stuff having to do with YSL, right? Let's just say you have attorneys being arrested. You have attorneys being having to pay the price of being late, having to write essays and things like that. You have attorneys having to buy food for the other attorneys. You have so much stuff has happened during this trial is ridiculous. But then you don't know some of the little small things that happens to individuals. I was talking to Mr. Weinstein today, and one of the things we talked about is that people don't even think about the cost for the individuals, not the individuals that's in jail. I'm talking about the individuals that has been at the courthouse. For example, the attorneys, and I know you guys think they're making big bucks and all that kind of stuff, and you have them having to pay $20 a day for parking. Imagine. The trial has gone for 100 days, right? $20 per day for 100 days. That's like $2,000, right? That's roughly about right. And then, not to mention the trial. Prior to the trial starting, you had like since 2022 of those parking prices. Okay, you had that parking prices. That's just a small portion. Then you have cleaning bills, like cleaning bill. Like every single one of the family members of the defendants that have been on trial bring in their clothing. They bring in a stack of clothes weekly. And those clothes have to be clean, wash, clean, and whatever, cleaners and things like that. And family members are bringing those clothes to those individuals. And then at the end of the week, they have to take it back, clean it, and bring more clothes in. Okay, you didn't think about that, right? That's another cost. Now we already know the trial itself costs a lot. You got the paper, you got the security, the staff of the courthouse, the staff of everything that has to do with that with the trial. You have all of this stuff that's happening. Some witnesses are not being paid. Somebody said witnesses are being paid. Some witnesses are not paid. The experts are paid, not the regular people. Those they required to come in. Then yes, Nick says the transportation. You got transportation. There's a lot of woes that has been associated with this case, and folks forgot about that. People forgot about that. And then you have family members of the victims, right? The family members of the victims, right? Because I know half of us don't believe there is, that y'all don't think about the victims. We have to think about victims, regardless of how you feel about this case. You still have to, somebody died, okay? Somebody's family is hurting for the pain of the lost one. Right? And you have that cost, you have that woes, you have those things going on. So, and I understand sitting behind the computer, watching these cases, you guys have dealt with woes as well. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to know what's going on. You glued to these internet, you glued to this and trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Right? You guys have woes because half of you guys been handling and paying for my stuff. Me. So you guys have woes. Just like, you have distress, suffering, or something having to deal with this. And I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm just laughing because it's crazy that we don't realize all of this that's happening. Right. But, and there are real lives attached to this case. Real lives, real people having to deal with real things. And not to mention, yes, defense attorney price, not to mention the state, y'all. I know they're not the most thought about people right now, but guys, you can tell. Look at the weight that ADA Love has lost. Do you think she lost that weight because of happiness? No, she's been stressed. Both have been. I think the whole team has been stressed because they have this demand that's placed on them for a win by all means necessary. And they want to get a win. They were not prepared. They were not prepared, guys. And they are forced to get a win by all means necessary. I believe part of this desire to go after high profile cases and putting all of them on RICO was to get a win, not only in the courtroom, but a win in the political arena. The political arena, there was this agreement, this selling point that was given to the community of there's things happening in community. They said it as if there's a big gang problem in our community, and this gang problem can be fixed, and I am the person to fix it. The past or the precedent of this community did not do anything about this gang problem. So I'm here to come and fix this gang problem. Right? And that was the selling point. And that is what was going to happen. Not only the gang problem, but also we're going to fix anything that's wrong in the Fulton County area with the what? RICO. So you have RICO for Trump's people group. You got a RICO for protesters, the city cop stuff, and then you have a RICO for YSL. You have RICO for YFN. You got all these RICO cases going on at the same time because of what? Somebody wants a win. Lives have been affected. False dreams, false wishes have been given, false hope have been given, because the case of Donovan Nutt, that case was a cold case from what, 9 years ago, 8 years ago. And back then, they couldn't find exactly what happened. So what happens now? You find a group, anyone that was seen or associated with this individual who is very well known, very popular, a celebrity. Hey, let's get everyone that has had past criminal cases, that has some sort of connection to this individual, and let's make it a conspiracy. We'll try to put the puzzles together and make this happen. And when they found out that's half of the stories that they were trying to put, the pieces that they were trying to put together, they realized that, hey, something is not fitting. Dr. SP2814 says, but Sylvia, what about bring criminals to justice? It's not about a win. I'm sorry, I disagree with you on this one. It's okay for you to disagree. But here's the thing. Have you watched the case? Have you been seeing what pieces they try to put together in this case? Oh, you just come in here just to say you disagree with me. Have you watched the case? Have you sat down and observed the evidence and the pieces they're trying to put together to get a win? Have you seen that? Or are you just coming in to disagree? I can put the link in there for you if you want to have a conversation on this, because from my observation, from what I have witnessed being in the courtroom, with all the missing pieces, I don't see anything else but trying to get a win. And that's my opinion. Just like you're entitled to yours, I'm entitled to mine. And this is me sitting in the courtroom day by day, with the exception of days that I was missing. And the history of Fulton County, there are some issues with the case, and I know, but let's not forget, my friend, that there is crime occurring. I never said there was no crime occurring. I never said that. I did say there was 2 lives lost. Did I not say that? But you're saying that it's not for a win. Here's why I say what I said about it's for a win, because the pieces that they're trying to put together are not matching. That they're willing to do certain things that are not legal, meaning like given someone immunity that does not want their immunity, right? But forcing them to get on the stand, even if they lie, you're okay in that person to lie just to get the information that you want, just to get that video or whatever it is into play. That's what I'm talking about. I know you might disagree with me on that, but let's speak logic here. Okay, doing unethical things to get a win. And everybody wants justice. I'm all for justice. But get justice with the facts, truth. That's it. Not to do things any kind of way you want to, just to get the story. Because let me tell you, everything that put together is a story, and who can build a story better and put it into a piece and show the evidence to that story gets that verdict, right? If it makes sense, if it's logical, you get the verdict based on evidence that makes sense. Get evidence that makes sense. Not evidence that someone that gets on the stand. Yes, there's some things that might have matched, right? But we don't know the facts. I put the link in there for you to come on in so we can have a discussion. Okay, Good Money Bunchy says, so you won the people are guilty not to have consequences because of ethics. Okay, I'm confused about that statement. Can you re-say that statement? It says, so you won the people who are guilty not to have consequences because of ethics. So but we want to have facts of that guilt. We want to have facts, not people have folk stories or rumors, and then the rumors are not fitting. So we need some factual evidence. We need some facts that's going to line up and make sense. That's what I'm talking about. If there's a shred of doubt, the law says if there is reasonable doubt, that person should be found not guilty. If all the evidence that's lined up and there's a shred of doubt somewhere, You cannot have that person to go to jail for the rest of life because there's a possibility you might be wrong in your storytelling. Because regardless of what, it's a storytelling because you're not there. You don't know what the facts. You're trying to put the pieces together to make up this story to match what you want. And that is a win. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, when I first started doing this case, right? I came in with a blank slate with no side, no preference or nothing because I don't live in Atlanta, so I was green as grass is outside, right? I did not know the facts. I did not know anything. So what I did, I took the time and sat in the courtroom, listened to the evidence that was presented, listened to the storytelling that the people told based on even the police officers. They not okay. First of all, why don't they have reports? Why don't they have videos from the McDonald's and all? Why is things being done weird? Why? And there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions. There's a lot of things that's just messed up. If somebody did the crime and you can show the evidence, factual evidence that's going to get that person a conviction, that's what we do. But we should base everything on facts of what actually happened, what the evidence shows happened. If you cannot match it, if things are missing, reports are missing, people saying things, people removing this, people because they're trying to fit a certain narrative because that's what they want. Because I was not there, I can't tell you, but based on what I have seen, what I've heard in the courtroom with my own ears and eyes, I'm going to tell you, I don't see it. And I came in as a person with empty slate. And while I was there, that balancing scale started tilting, and it tilted, and it tilted, and it tilted towards the defense side because what the state was given and what didn't match. It was stuff missing. It was lies. It was things just I couldn't put it together. And I came in with an empty slate. Because some of you guys are fans of music and stuff. I was not a fan. I don't know anything about the music at all. You get what I'm saying? So me being the perfect type of juror, which know nothing about it, I came there with a clean slate. I saw some unfair dealings. I saw some, and I can't say corruption because I have to really dig in to say corruption, but I can say there was some biases. Definitely there was some biases. You said, but let me see. El Umbro Negro says, but witnesses already been telling what have been telling on what were going on, like Little Woody, etc. Okay, witnesses. But remember, I didn't know nothing. I knew nothing. Everything that I'm knowing now is what I've learned at the trial, what I've been reading in the paperwork. I read the paperwork. I'm sitting in the trial. I listen to the testimony. I hear the individual give their side of what happened. That's where I'm at. Okay. I don't sit on the computer and just read people just making up stuff. No, I'm in the documents. I'm in the court records. I'm listening to testimony. I'm listening to experts tell what happened, this, that. So I'm paying attention. Okay. I don't get little bits and pieces from the internet because the internet will make up all kinds of craziness. Okay. I'm listening to family members. I'm listening to people who on the opposite side. I'm listening. I'm putting pieces together what I'm hearing. Okay. And what was portrayed from the state is not what I saw. It's not what I saw in the courtroom. It's not what I saw in the paperwork. It's not what I saw. I don't know what the discovery is, so I can't give you the discovery. But what I was told, there's gonna be this. Boom, you're gonna be surprised. I mean, and I was talking to the other side, y'all. I was talking to the other side, and I was like, oh, they kept saying, wait till you see this, wait till you hear this, wait till you did it. So I was waiting. I was waiting for the bombshells. I was waiting for something to happen because I was told, wait till this person come on. This person gonna tell it all. I mean, even before Bennett came on, wait till this happened. And that because we were giving this elaborate story from the state side of what they're going to prove. The opening statement, she talks about the pack of wolves and Jeffrey being the wolf, the leader of the pack. So I was looking for the leader of the pack of wolves. And I wanted to see what the pack of the wolves were doing. But then I end up seeing individuals doing different crime for their own satisfaction. That's what I saw. That's what I heard. That's what I saw. That's what the evidence showed me. And it came from those individuals' mouths themselves. Like even Tick was telling you that he was selling drugs on the in the corner of the gas station. They were doing this. They had terror. You know, that's what I saw. That's what I heard. But also I saw them taking stuff from when people were young kids doing all kinds of craziness. You know, kids doing foolish kid stuff. That's what I saw because they popped those videos up and you see them doing little gang sign, all this kind of stuff. And here's the thing. One of the things they said, being in a gang is not illegal. What is illegal is the activity of that particular gang. If they're doing illegal things, that is what makes the gang illegal. Because there are so many types of gangs out there. You have sororities, that's a gang. Whether you believe it or not, it's a group of people coming together with the same common goal, and that's a gang by definition. Now, there are gangs that do mischievous things, and there are gangs that do productive things for the community. Okay, Uno says, Miss Sylvia, respectively, they played you and everyone else. I don't feel for them. Who played me? Uno, who played me? Money, good money bunch, she says, police is the biggest gang. A lot of gangs. Little Rascals is a gang. Somebody said HOAs. Listen, folks, let me just explain something to you. I know all you guys said I've been bamboozled, hoodwink, and all that. Listen, I was sitting in the courtroom, guys. I was sitting, and that's why I prefer to be in the courtroom and hear things myself and see things myself. Okay. I am not being bamboozled or hoodwinked, anything like that. I sat there and I listened carefully to the evidence. I listened carefully to the stuff that they're being brought as evidence. Okay. And not only did I listen, guys, I communicated with the people. I listened to the people because everybody has a story. And I was listening to different sides of the story, not just one side, y'all. And I started leaning, like I told you, my scale started leaning towards a certain direction because of me listening and hearing and seeing what was going on in the courtroom. Just like the state was not there. The state came up with a story based on what they thought they can prove. Okay? Just like, okay, with Donovan's body, right? Because according to them, there's certain shell cases. There's like, I think it was a total of 4 different, was it 3 different weapons? If I'm not mistaken, I know it's more than 2. It was 3 or 4 different weapons that had shell cases on the ground. And I showed y'all that. Did you guys know about that? The 3 different shell cases or 4? I think it was. Anybody could remember? Tall Glass, are you in here? Can you remember? Hey, Shelly. Do you guys remember how many shell cases there was? It was 3 different shell cases. Thank you, Unpopular. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was 3 different shell cases, right? But according to the video when you were watching it, right? You saw that vehicle, which everyone's trying to figure out what kind of car it is. Some people said it was the Bonneville, and another one says Infinity, and then there was one more car they mentioned. What was the other car? King. I heard the same thing too. I heard the same thing too, King. But not everybody heard that. A Honda Accord. Thank you. Thank you, Ben. There was 3 different cars. They had 3 different bullets type. I mean, and if you can't really get anything concrete in the answers to these with these evidence, it's a not guilty verdict, y'all. You can't make that mistake of not really being concrete 100% or 99.9% of this is actually what occurred. Not 75% the possibility. You can't do 75% because it's 25% of not sureness. It's too much variables that's not matching. It's too much things that's not matching. Too much reasonable doubt. Folsom says, too much reasonable doubt. And you got to be 100% because these are lives. Yes, there's 2 lives that were lost, but there's also lives that shouldn't be lost because if you're not 100% certain of this is what happened. Okay. And I know we geared over to that thing because we're supposed to be focusing on the woes of the whole case of different people dealing with different things. You have the judge dealing with his health issues. You have the state. I mean, so many factors to this case, so many pieces, so many different people, and I know we all have become so engulfed in it. We want a resolution, we want a solution, but if it's not straightforward and factual and pure evidence to get a conviction, the route that it's gone and is going right now, a mistrial is most likely the next stage. And this is my opinion now. This is my opinion. No one has told me this. This is my opinion. She said, Shell said, Lead was reading the indictment last night. First time I heard it, and was floored by how much a prosecution had not begun to prove 92% of the indictment on top of the things they listed in from 2013. Life with Lauren said, Woody had been playing them people in their faces. That's why we are where we are now. Okay. And my question is, why didn't they vet? And I know some of the stuff they said that he claimed to happen. They have evidence to match what he said, but why didn't they vet him more than what they did now? Because now they look like a fool putting him on the stand, and his story is not matching up to what supposedly the evidence is supposed to prove. And for you to give someone immunity that did not ask for immunity, what is that saying? Because most people that are guilty of a crime, right, and they want to get away from their thing, get away from it, and just want to tell you everything, and because what they're saying is true, but they just don't want to get themselves in trouble, they would get on that stand and stick to their story, stick to it and tell what it is. Because I've been several cases, y'all. Several cases I've witnessed when someone's given immunity, stand there and tell their story. Like in the R. Kelly case, if you remember, the guy, the manager, Demetrius Smith, he gave his story. Right? He gave his story. And his story, he stuck with what he said from the beginning. That's how they were able to get conviction. Because even though he tried to say it was him that did everything, but because they did a RICO in that case too, they said because Mr. Kelly was the leader. That's how he was able to tie him into the stuff that Demetrius Smith did. And Demetrius Smith, he's the one who did the ID. He said he knew the person. He's the one paid the person to get the ID and all that. He said Mr. Kelly didn't know anything about it, but he's the one that initiated. But they said who benefited from it? And it was Mr. Kelly supposedly is the one they claimed that benefited from it. But his story, when he went to the feds, his story stayed the same. But Woody, his story changes up. And Demetrius Smith, he asked for immunity. He wanted immunity because he didn't want his crime to come back on him. All right, I'm gonna put the link in here for those who wants to discuss this, because all right, I am still waiting for Mr. Matthew and I to connect today, because I think he must have had some cases, and so we're going to postpone his interview. But Chard interview is next on Thursday. So Thursday at 7 p.m. for Mr. Max Chard. So just put down your calendar. I'll put a reminder up for his interview for Thursday. He's over there in Megan's right now. Is it over with? Yeah, okay. My buddy Emmanuel. Hey, Emmanuel.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. You haven't watched the Megan interview, have you?
For Megan's interview?
Yeah.
No, I didn't watch because I did not know they were coming on. He was coming on the same time I was going live.
Not me either. I didn't even know that was going live until because I had to run errands, and when I came back to the house, I went over there, and that's the first thing that popped up on my feed.
Okay, is it over with now?
Oh, I don't know. Ever since I came over here to you, I haven't even checked. Only the chat would know
Okay.
because I have no clue.
Hey, Dre.
How you doing, Miss Sylvia?
How you doing? Go ahead, Emmanuel, and then Dre, you can give me your input.
Drake could go first. I'm brainstorming.
Okay. All right, Dre. What's your thought?
I just think it's sad that Nuts family is not gonna be able to get any justice out of the situation, for one. Then for two, like just how unethical, like we've been able to see the prosecution been. It's crazy. Like in her opening statements, she defied the judge's orders of her not playing a certain slide, and she chose to play it anyway. In her opening argument statements, like how unethical is that? And the judge even told her, like, I told you a week before we even did this not to do this, and she did it anyway. And it's like just the tactics that they've been willing to do just to try to get a conviction just because of who Jeffrey is sad, bro. Like, it's just sad. Like, I never thought I would be looking at looking at a trial like this and just seeing so much unethical stuff going on from the state side. This makes Fulton County look real bad. And like, just like with their case is weak. Like, they haven't been able to prove anything. That's the biggest part that's been so crazy to me, is like they made it seem like they was gonna prove everything. Like Jeff was just doing crazy stuff and ordering crazy stuff, and it's like they can't even prove that he's really the leader. You had guys up here saying they were having phone calls about him, just calling him the rapper guy and laughing about him, like, yeah, he ain't really like that. He ain't really about nothing. Like,
And everybody has said the same thing, that he was trying to get them out of that kind of lifestyle. I mean, when they were kids, they were doing mischievous. I mean, we cannot disband that. We knew those things was happening, right?
oh yeah, for sure.
But when he became that mega
Somebody got
star,
to echo Miss Sylvia.
that's Cushy. Could you mute yourself for a minute?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cushy, you got us playing in your background. Mute it. Okay, I just muted him. Cushy, turn off the YouTube in the background. But I was saying that when they were younger, there were some things, mischievous things that was done. But you know what? Who haven't done crazy things as children?
And that's but the crazy part about it is, like you were saying, just to go piggyback on what you're saying, that's why him and DK fell out. Because remember, he fell out with DK. He's like, yo, you bringing my sister around all this craziness, bro. Like, and I told you, like, not to do that. So it's like, everybody who's got up there and testified that they want him to testify, that want to testify against him, has said he wanted me to better myself. Slug said it. Woody said it. So even when they was asking Woody why him is separated, he was like, because he didn't want me hurting his career. So that right there just lets you know that, like, even if everybody want to quote unquote paint this picture of what he was doing, like, I mean, but if you know the culture and you understand, like, some of the stuff he was doing that stuff because he wanted to have the street cred. So he was keeping them around for that reason. If you really look at it, that's really what it is. He wanted to be able to still have that street cred because he's a rapper. If you're a rapper with no street cred, people not gonna believe you. And they're trying to paint this picture like, oh, he was just doing all this stuff and it's like that. But most of the evidence was proving that he was really against it. Even when they tried to bring the whole what was it, Shell Nuts brother, when he shot up, remember when he was like, they put Thug on the phone and Thug told, he was like, bro, like, I ain't trying to hear none of that because you shot my car up. Like, get my car fixed. He didn't tell him, oh, I'm gonna kill you, or he didn't say, oh, it's war. He's like, bro, if you want to fix it, pay for my car get fixed.
You muted
so it's
yourself.
like, how can you really say that he was really trying to be quote unquote a gang leader and causing all this havoc when every chance he got, he was trying to tell his dudes like, hey man, leave that alone. Get out the streets. Like, we can do it legal. So it's like, how they reach?
Even that rapper, Lil Baby. Lil Baby told you the same thing.
Yeah, remember when they did the documentary, he was giving Lil Baby money to get him out the streets.
Yeah.
So it's like that's the biggest thing that I have with them is like I feel like they really just went after him just because of who he was, and I don't think they really did their investigations as properly as they should. Because I never heard of cops not having police reports. Like never heard of that. I've been been to trial twice, and I have never heard that before. You're always supposed to have copies of your police reports. Like the cops are getting up here. Even some of the experts are getting up here, and they don't have any police reports. So what they? So it's like, how do we know what you investigated if you don't have any reports about that? Like, how does that work?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't know. The whole thing is just looking crazy. And I'm not trying to say that these guys are saints because they're not. Obviously, they were doing crimes, so they deserve to get punished for the crimes that they're doing. I'm going to say that. But as far as Rico, like they can't even prove that they're a real gang. They went from saying that they were a traditional gang to now they're saying they're a hybrid. And they're
But
trying to
then,
make it seem like all these guys are Bloods and all of them want blood. Some of these guys were Crips. So how does that work?
and then DK just got out of jail.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the biggest thing that I have a problem with that I've seen is like they said that DK and Woody and some of these guys were the most violent ones, but they let them off with plea deals and giving him immunity. So it's like I just don't understand that. Like if these guys were some of the violent ones, why are you letting the ones who were doing the most violent stuff get off on plea deals and immunity? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. All right. Emmanuel, you want to go ahead and then Cushy could go?
Yeah, and you see, giving them plea deals, you look at get them on the stand, and you see what happened when you get them on the stand. They still didn't cooperate the way you wanted them to.
Yeah.
They didn't do. They didn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's only backtrack. Whatever motive that the state had, or whatever game plan they had, it didn't pan out the way they thought it would pan out.
Yeah. Yeah. Cushy.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I just want to know, do you think Glenville is talking to the new judge?
Most likely, because they probably talk to get the information from the case. Most of the time, judges do talk. That's just like somebody's passing on a baton. They tell you what, what's going on, what to expect. They would communicate, definitely.
Oh, okay, that's all I wanted.
Yeah, and the biggest question I have now is now that Granville's recused, are they going to try to get DA Love and Hilton recused as well? Is that the next steps?
Most likely, there's probably a motion. There is a motion. There was a motion before about Love. I knew that, but as far as Hilton, I don't know.
Yeah, because they talking about being able to call them as witnesses. So I'm curious to see how that works.
And you can't be both. That's what Mr. Adams said yesterday. If they called as witnesses, they can't be. They cannot be prosecutors on it if they are witnesses.
Yeah, so I mean that's the biggest thing that's been crazy to me. And I've seen a lot of people talking about the ex parte,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like ex partes are not illegal, but it's how they did it which makes it illegal. The fact that they didn't tell the defense because it even says so, and by the state law that they had to inform the defense that they're having the ex parte meeting, whether they inform them before or after, and they chose not to do that. Then it's also Brady material was actually involved in the ex parte meeting. They didn't disclose that as well either. So that's what makes it illegal, and that's what Glanville did bad. It's not the fact that they actually had the meeting. It's the actions of what they did and how they try to cover up the meeting is what makes it bad.
I wonder will they ask Woody question when he gets on the stand if it continues. If he they get on the stand, will they ask some question about that ex parte meeting?
Yeah, exactly. That's why they got that's why they got the transcript, because that's what they want to ask them. That's why they didn't want the transcript to be redacted, because they wanted to ask them questions.
Mm-hmm. Let's put this. Dre, did you have anything you want to add on to that?
No, I just and the last thing I just wanted to say before I guess before it's off or whatever is like if they do grant them a mistrial, because this is my biggest question. I just wanted to know, like, if they do grant them a mistrial, wouldn't it be the state's fault that they granted them a mistrial? So wouldn't that be grounds enough for them to be able to get it dismissed without basically without them being able to try them again?
If it's a mistrial for prosecutional misconduct, then they will not, it would be considered double jeopardy if they tried to bring the case back. Then there's going to be, that's it.
Yeah, so
But,
they have to dismiss it with a prejudice then.
yeah, with prejudice. But if they do it just a regular mistrial, they can bring it back again.
I don't see if they grant a mistrial, man. I don't see how they can retry this case. Like, that's the hardest thing I've been trying to wrap my mind around. It's like, if they do mistrial, how can you try it again? Just with all the money and everything, and then like, how are you going to be able to find a jury that hasn't seen any of this or heard any of this in the news already? Like, that's going to be the hardest thing.
But here's the thing: they could offer plea deals.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, they could time serve everybody or something like that. You're right.
A plea deal, and certain things might be so good that they'll go ahead and take it. They might decide to take it, especially because remember, there's 2 individuals on that case right now who will go back to jail.
Yeah, it is. It is.
You have Little Rod, because once his case, remember, they haven't finished with his, even though they gave him overturned his conviction, but they're gonna have to go back to court and do that stuff. Somebody said that the judge denied a new trial, but we don't know. I don't know. I haven't been paying attention. And then you have Huey. Huey's there, and he's in jail serving time. But Stillwell, Nichols, Jeffrey, and DeMonte, they all would be going asking for a bond.
As well as they should, as how long they've been sitting. So I mean, as well as they should. I think the guys who took pleas beforehand, I think them guys are rethinking like, dang, I shouldn't have took that plea. Like guys like Gunn and them, because if you're looking at this trial, man, it's like, man,
they should have stuck it out.
Yeah, I feel like Gunna set it off for everybody to start taking pleas. Once he took a plea, everything else fell in line.
Yeah.
So you say 4 out of basically the 6 defendants, or well, of course the 4 you think you're going to do bond, and what's going to happen to the other 2, even though they're going back to jail?
They'll probably just go back to jail.
Oh, okay.
Well, you remember Lil Rod, his case was overturned, so they're gonna see what, somebody told me that his trial, his court date was not granted or something like that. But I haven't read on it lately. So, and then you gotta also know, all those little cases that was happening while they were in jail, those little quirks that they had fights and all this kind of stuff. They had more charges added onto them while they're doing this case. They probably have to deal with that too.
Yeah, not to mention the guys who ain't been tried yet.
Yeah, so that's the question. What's going to happen with them?
Yeah, what's going to happen with them? Are they going to do it right over there in that courtroom? Because it seems like this is pretty much everybody's learning from the past to don't do it this way because this is what can happen. So maybe they won't mess up over there in the courtroom for those other defendants that got severed.
Yeah, and Judge Dempsey is a little bit different. He's not, and he's not going to be the judge on that case. I just want to tell everybody, he is just helping out right now while the motions and pretrial stuff is going on. He is not going to be the judge on that case. Just want to.
So they haven't even picked a judge for them yet, have they?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. Ooh, it's a lot to unpack. My goodness.
What they say? Was that like another 12 of them or something like that?
I forgot the number because there was Okay, you have Khalif Adams, you have Christopher Eppinger, you have Mender, you have Myrick, you have Fleetwood, you have Winfrey. Oh, can't remember all the other ones' name. I think it's about 9 of them. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 9 of them. It's not 18, right, Michelle? It's not 18. It's about 9.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was 12, but I remember a couple more just took pleas not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken, right?
You had BB took a plea. You have BB. You have what's the other guy? I'm talking about recent plea was BB, and you had and then you got Polo, whose case was thrown out. You got Polo's case was thrown out.
Yeah, his was. Yeah, you're right about that, Missy. I forgot about his. His was thrown out.
Yeah, and then you have yeah, I have to go back to my paperwork.
I know so many names.
I have to go back. I mean, if y'all would have told me y'all was going to ask me that question, then I would have given y'all the information. But I think it's about 9 of them. If not 9, it's 12. 12 to 9. That's what I have.
Could you guys imagine being a juror on this case, man? Having to deal with this and keep up with all this stuff?
I couldn't do it, honestly. Not me. Nope, I couldn't do it.
And then it's going to be hard for me to believe that none of the jurors have seen anything that's been going on with this case since they've been on break.
To keep it honest with you, I would have been on social media like everybody else. I know they have rules and regulations to follow by, that they're not supposed to see this and they're not supposed to watch that. But sorry, it'll be hard not to.
I mean, look at it. Even the judge in the state ain't even following the rules. Because doesn't the judge tell them every time a witness get off the stand that don't talk about the case with anybody but a lawyer? Lawyers in this case.
One of them is Adams, Khalif Adams, is Blaylock, is Bradford, Chris Eppinger, Miles Farley, Mender, Myrick. How many is that you guys got? How many is that? Did you count it? Rachel, did you count who it was? Rochelle, did you count the ones I just gave you the names?
Who was the dude that got severed? What's his name? I forgot his name because there's just so many names that they thought he was like going crazy, doing all the hand.
That's Polo. That was Polo.
Oh, okay, that's Polo.
Yeah, that was Polo. You got Polo and BB. They're no longer. They remember they were separate, but they're no longer part of Winfrey. No, Winfrey did not get a plea deal. He's part of the other gang.
Yeah. That's Roscoe. He's still waiting.
Okay, let me give you the names again, Rachel, so you could put it down. Okay, ready? You have. Let's do Winfrey. Winfrey. You have Adams. You have Blaylock. You have Bradford. You have Eppinger. You have Mender. You have Myrick. You have Farley. So how many is that?
That's 8.
Yeah, I put what's the name in there, right?
Yeah, I counted 8.
That's 8. I thought it was 9. I must be missing somebody. You got Mender, Myrick.
Yeah, I counted 8 too. There's got to be another.
Farley's been on bail. Farley's been on bail since December last year. He got bail because remember, after his attorney was arrested, they went for bail and they gave him bail. In fact, they had bail hearing because they said that he violated his bail, so they would try to revoke his bail. So they had to give a stipulation because he was staying with his grandmother. His grandmother was right on that line because I was at the hearing for that too. I was at the hearing. So I know what I'm talking about, y'all. Garlington, thank you. Demonte Garlington, thank you.
Yeah, Demetri and Garlington. Yep, Garlington. So that makes 9.
Yeah, it is 9. Garlington, thank you. doo-wop. We forgot about doo-wop. Cobb women. Okay, we'll go look at my paperwork. I have to go look at the paperwork.
So my question is, whenever they do start trial over there in the other courtroom or whenever that happens, are you covering that?
Yeah, I'll be covering that one as well.
Okay.
We don't know what's going to happen with that one because they're
Yeah,
not
we
going to
don't.
do coverage like they did with the news.
Yeah, so are those guys getting tried together as well, or are they like going to be separate as far as like?
They're together. They're together.
That's a lot of space.
Cobb hasn't been found. Oh yeah, Cobb is the one that they thought was in the state of Washington, and they don't know where he's at because his attorney was there, and they're saying, well, they thought he was in jail. They can't find him.
Yeah, they can't find him at all. They haven't even been able to serve him his indictment.
Good luck trying to find him. I'm pretty.
There's an open warrant for him.
Yeah, I mean, when I heard that, I was like, it sounds like he ain't here with us no more because ain't no way you're gonna be under a rock like that.
So you remember they took a long time to find Winfrey, and they found him all the way in Vegas.
In Vegas, yep.
I wouldn't even be surprised if homeboy then jumped on a plane and went to the Bahamas somewhere.
Or went to Africa.
Or somewhere.
Yeah, he gone. He ain't here. Like I said, he ain't here. He ain't here. He can't be in the United States, bro. Because they would
be in the United
States.
Can't be. Cannot. No way. You got every law enforcement in every state looking for you.
But he might do like that guy did, go all the way up in the woods of North Carolina. Remember the guy that did the bombing in Central Park, not Central, at the Olympics. Remember that guy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I know you're talking about.
And he was out there and he was living off the bugs and trees and he was out there for years before they caught him.
Yeah, but you know, he had to have some type of he had to been able to do that before. I don't know if this brother will be able to do something like that.
And with cell phones, they'll catch you now. Tall Glass, I was looking for you. With cell phone, they can catch you. And let me tell you, these phones right here track you, even if you turn it off. It tracks you.
Yeah, if you're doing a crime, you better not have one of those with you, especially on iPhone.
Even if you put it on airplane mode, they still have
because
a way.
when I worked for Verizon, y'all, when we were building things like this, we would have come up with all kinds of ideas, and you'd be surprised what these phones do.
Yeah, and there's different there's different companies that law enforcement contracts out to do services for them, and those IT guys, they're really good at what they're doing.
Yeah, and there's the government too.
Yeah, the government, if they want to find you, they going, especially if you're in the United States, they're gonna stop at nothing to find you.
Yep. They got. I mean, come on, these things track you even when you're off. That's how all they need is your phone number. Now everything's in one system, and they will track your butt down.
They even got smart.
Throw these things away if you're gonna be doing a crime.
Right. They even got smart to even figure out how to track people through the burner phones. You know, the throwaway phones.
Mm-hmm.
They figured that out too. He said, "Oh yeah, we got the smartphones down. Now we need to just go through the burner phones."
That's why they have so many phones. They even give it to people that are elderly. They give it to everybody. They give them free phones. That's a way to keep up.
Yep. They're not doing it for no reason. There is a reason behind everything they are doing.
Yep. Big brother knows.
And then what I find weird is like somebody like Detective Quinn. You the lead investigator / detective. How do you not go check out video surveillance? I'm pretty sure you've had some training in that. being a lead detective, especially being
Yeah,
a
it's a lot
famous.
of stuff that he did as a lead detective that just
Yeah,
don't look right.
especially being a famous one at that.
Mm-hmm.
You know how to get into those video cameras. You can't tell me you don't.
Just like I ain't gonna lie to y'all, like that story about the car hitting the laundromat. That story don't make sense.
It don't. Mm-mm.
Because I was just thinking, like when I first heard it, I was like, so it's a cop car sitting right there by the laundromat. So that means they could have heard the shots and they didn't respond. Because they were close enough to hear the gunfire going off. You hear all that gunfire and it doesn't cause you to wonder what's going on or even try to respond. They were sitting there the whole time. So your boy was able to get out the car, shoot at somebody, the cop shoot at him. All that commotion happened, and they were still sitting in the same spot the whole time. Like, that just seems odd to me.
Like they had to hear that sound before that car landed on them.
Hey, y'all,
Per
guess what?
what they say.
I wanted to tell y'all something. It says December 5th is the oral argument to disqualify Fulton DA Fannie Willis for the Trump election interference case. So they're going to have opening argument. And then it says here, as of March, Ingram, this judge that we have now, has 189 pending criminal cases and 244 civil cases before her, according to court status. Okay. It will be interesting to see what happens and the decision Ingram makes, considering her busy caseload and those and other Fulton judges. So she has 189 pending criminal cases and 244 civil cases
That is a lot
on her record. So
that is a whole lot.
Hey, JL Jones, how are you?
She's definitely gangly.
How are you, Miss Sylvia?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Watching you again. I have been viewing you for so long, and I just love your channel.
Thank you. Thank you.
You do such a good job on the coverage and just everything that you're doing, and just keeping us informed. And the way that you explain it and going inside, risking yourself.
Thank you.
We have talked on your other live when you got locked up.
No, which time of my lockup? Which one?
The first and second. Yeah, we talked about both, and I'm usually on my personal page, so I apologize. I didn't realize I was on my business page, so I apologize for that. But what is happening right now with this trial is just worldwide. It is worldwide. It has caught the eye of just people like myself and corporations that are just looking in and viewing, and it's having us take a closer look at our system in the states that we're in. I'm in the Detroit area, and it very talked about here.
Hold on, dude. Speaking of Detroit, did you go vote for my boy Hill? That used to be my
I knew you were coming. Right. So it's really, it's just really sad because from my point of view, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you have all the real insight, but from me looking from an outside in, and I am not an attorney, I'll say that first. It seems as if the ones that they are trying to bring in connection with the YSL, they have already been charged in doing their crimes, is what it looks like to me. So the ones that they have brought in, it looks like they were just kind of grouped together.
Yeah.
Where some of the attorneys don't even have to stand up and fight through the court case because it has nothing to do with their client that's sitting there.
And then there's other one. They all in jail already. They're serving their time.
So when I looked into it, that's what I found. So the RICO itself is very, very weak. And I know that it's so easy to bring RICOs because they figure if you're guilty on one count, we can get you, for everything. But where is that victory or justice? And I always say you will only get as much justice as you can afford.
That is so true.
So we're looking at top headliner attorneys that are representing these young gentlemen in there. And I believe they're innocent. I do. From what has been presented, I've been watching from day one. I wouldn't have even brought this to light. If I was in the position to sign off, there is no way I would have signed off on that.
And the other prosecutor, Mr. Paul Howard, he refused to bring those things because when they tried to, there was individuals that was arrested before and they didn't have enough evidence to keep them in jail. So it's like beating a dead horse right now. Because a lot of evidence is lost and they don't have all the key pieces or key people in trying to get the Donovan Thomas case solved.
Well, see, that from my opinion, that should have been done independently.
Yeah.
And I believe they had it right the first time. And they just had to double back because they needed it to be placed where they needed it to be placed at. And they were hoping that the evidence that they presented would allow that. But however, everything that, as I say, we the people, I'm part of we the people, that is not what is being displayed. And like I said, you're only going to get as much justice as you can afford. So think about the ones that are here in our system that don't have the funds. And there's a shortage of state appointed counsel. Mm-hmm. And they're not being paid, to date of how they should be paid. So there's a true shortage. Nobody wants to do that work. And so you really don't get that justice because they really don't fight the way that you're going to fight if you hire a high named law firm. And that is just the truth. So I think about all the people that don't have the funds to have those type of representation, because what is this trial teaching them? That they can fight. And really, I mean, I think I earned my law degree on YouTube, watching your pages.
Yeah, you got more than 40 hours of gang training.
Oh, yeah, way more
Miss
than 40.
Sylvia, I've been watching from day one with you. I come to your channel first. It's just you always have a great understanding, the way that you look at it, the way that you explain it. Even during the times where other channels will try to throw little jabs, I would catch, your name will kind of come in and I would leave like a little comment underneath, like, that is a positive channel. Because you could go for an update and then the next day you can get a prayer. So you know that.
Prayer work now. Come on. You see Kate said that prayer the other day now and see what happened. Y'all don't sleep on the prayer now.
Yes, and then the day when you did it all day, and I was loving it. I love it. I always tune you in. I put you up on my TVs around my house while I'm on my laptop working in my office, and I keep you up. And when you come on, I listen to what you got to say. But I just really want the people to really come forward and really stand up. And I think it would be really smart to coordinate something outside of that courthouse to show support of we the people.
I agree.
I would totally fly down for it and even help work it, coordinate it, whatever my firm could do, we would definitely help.
Mr. have been trying to get something together, and then people don't show up, you know. And I told him that this is the time right now. This is the time for people to gather together and rally in regard to this, because now it's like the OJ thing. If it don't fit, it must have quit. So it's now time for us to just get out there and be boots on the ground to get these things to stop. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You know what would be really good, Miss Sylvia, is if you do. We have to connect offline.
Okay.
We'll have to connect offline, because I have a few people that can also help, and I can also help with my firm and connect with you to do a couple things that I think will be very impactful. And also, it will send a sign to all the people out here, you know, that they don't have to allow these type of injustices.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a millionaire or a rapper or anything to get those. There is people out here that truly, genuinely care. And there are so many being railroaded by these type of behaviors. This jury has sat and watched facial expressions from state. They have watched rolling of the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
They have watched false accusations on defense counsel. They have watched the judge really have them at hand, the defense. And we're not talking about 1 or 2 or 1 week or 2 week. This is 2022 going forward. You know, we're in 24 now. So it's really, really sad. And I think just bringing everything to light. But I just want to be able to connect with you. And like I said, we love you over here. We love Miss, whether you get locked up or not, we love you.
I love you too.
What Dallas tell you the other day? She's the mean one. You're not supposed to be the mean one, but you're not. And then the picture with you and Woody. I know everybody call him Woody, but he said his name is Woody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really
we went to church, you know that, right?
You better stop.
I went to church with him, yes.
You did?
Yes, on Sunday, I went to church with Woody, yes.
You know what? I'm so thankful for you.
I met his family. He has a very large family, y'all. He has a very large family.
You know, he deserves a lot of people, and this is what the downfall of social media. They're looking at him like, oh, you're just a snitch. And you did this to turn the focus. But he's bringing it to light. Like, no, that is not the case.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the case. They wanted to hear what they wanted to hear. And they're going to pick from it. I'm going to say what I'm going to say, but they're going to do that. And if you go back and watch, did you ever go back and watch the videos of Atlanta News on Gitmo?
No, I didn't get. You said Gitmo?
Where they had interviewed Judge Glanville, the commissioner, and also Miss Bonnie Willis. And she said that previously Fulton County was indicting, and that she does not bring indictments off a hearsay without proof. And I've watched that and went back to that. And this exactly what this case is exactly what she said in that meeting 8 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
If you pull up Atlanta First, or it's Atlanta News First, it's a gentleman on there in a tie sitting down. He sat down with Fulton County's district attorney, Fonnie Willis. Mm-hmm. He sat down with Glanville. Mm-hmm. And he sat down with another gentleman that, I forget his title, but it's on there. I can even send it to you.
Okay.
It is very, very interesting because she speaks. Nobody on social media has brought up these videos yet. And I've been waiting for them to surface because these interviews were just done 8 months ago and this trial was running.
Oh, I need to see that then.
So it's very interesting when I watched the flip side of that and I said, everything that she sat in that chair and said is actually everything that she is doing right now. So what she faulted the previous for is exactly what she is doing, and it deflected, and the reporter did catch that. And I thought it was a very good catch. He ran numbers of Fulton County. He ran the misuse of funds, a lot of different things. So those interviews were great interviews. And Glanville was also, they gave a chart of every single judge in Fulton County and what their exact caseload is. I have the chart. I can share it with you.
Okay.
And the chart shows that as a chief judge, Glanville has 26 cases. And there is 18,000 that are still waiting for their cases to be solved or go through the DA's office. And they put it into how many murders were waiting, how many rape victims were waiting, all because they cannot get a trial because these courts are held up. That was talked about.
Wow.
And they all reverted the blame on each other. So my thing was, why isn't none of our bloggers showing this?
Because they're not interested in that.
Yeah, but that is such a big piece of
Not enough people probably
information.
gonna be looking at it, they think.
Yeah. I did a piece where they were talking about the caseload. I think it was when he was interviewing, was it Winnie? Mark Winnie was interviewing Fonnie.
No, this was the gentleman. Hold on, let me pull it up. Hold on. Hold on, I'm gonna pull it up now.
Hey, Miss Sylvia, just to piggyback off something that a question that you had earlier when you was basically asking like do people feel like and it just slipped my mind that fast. Basically
Getting my age now.
nah, but yeah, I just want to say that do you think, I just got a question now, really. Do you think that even if they do retrial this case, that it's even worth it? Because I mean, they're kind of at the point now where it's at grounds that even if they do get it, oh, that's what it was, the win now mentality, her win now mentality. I think it's women. I agree with you on win now, because even if she do get a conviction, it's gonna get overturned with appeals, in my opinion. So I mean, it's kind of like,
yeah.
So it's like that's the definition of trying to win by any means.
Yeah.
Because it's like, even if they do get a win, it's gonna get overturned overturned anyway. So damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Supreme Court said it on some of this stuff already. They're gonna be overturned.
That's exactly right, Dre. That's exactly what it is. If you're going to get a conviction, you have to make sure that it's going to stand on its heels. So if you know that it's going for appeals, that is not a win that you're going to be able to use in the future anyway. But the rightful thing, I think, to save face, and what I mean by save face is Love's career and Hilton's career, is to go ahead and dismiss. Because America has seen these actions, not just Fulton County. I'm calling in from Detroit.
Yeah.
You know, so it's everywhere. Now, I tell you, it's corporations that are speaking on this. I have never sat in the office and have had so many Young Thug conversations on trial when I do go in, but everybody is interested. Everybody wants an update. And here I am giving them all Sylvia's business every time. Running all your business, Sylvia.
Yeah, I feel you on that because if we didn't have cameras, I'm gonna be honest with you, I probably wouldn't believe half the stuff that's going on in this trial.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
You know, I'm with you on that. I wouldn't be the first to say that these type of things would be happening, but I look at it as this is a chief judge and this was a chief prosecutor. Okay, and that's what makes it even more crucial. And the behavior, the ethical, the professional, everything that was displayed in that courtroom is far more a travesty than anything else.
Yeah, because it basically inferences that this is probably not the first time they've been acting like this or did stuff like this.
And I don't want to be the first one to throw out, you know, of race or anything like that. I am a proud Hispanic Cuban. My children are Hispanic, Cuban, and Black. My husband is a Black man. And I just look at it as we finally have minorities in positions that we need, that were so long overdue. And you get in the position and you're hanging the same ones you have vowed to help coming in office. That's my hurt for them. Because I can't imagine walking in a courtroom and I see that I have a judge that looks like me, prosecutors that look like me, and I know I'm being set up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's a whole different conversation that they're not ready for. And if you go back on their promotional runnings, when they were waiting to get into office and they wanted these jobs, they have vowed prison is not the place. They need to help minority men. They don't deserve to be in prison. They need to have all these programs. Everything that you can go back and pull up that is on video that I have saved and put aside is everything contradiction to what they're doing today. Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean by save face. I don't think the public is interested if you keep that job or you get another job. But there is a lot of people that is seeing that every action either falls under unprofessional, unethical, and we won't even get into, I've never seen a chief district attorney get caught lying in court more than 4 times. I have never seen it in my life. And I'm not young. And I'm not too old, but I'm not young. I have never, ever seen a chief district attorney get into that many false accusations and will tell false information to the judge, to his face, and be okay. That is not a tactic. That is a behavior. And it is up to the new judge to be able, the rightful thing to do is to excuse both of them off the case. If you're not going to dismiss it and you want to keep forth and present it, that jury is tarnished. The jurors are tarnished because you cannot tell me that they have not seen what is going on. It is in America.
And I don't think that it just needs to be DA Love and Hilton either. I think it needs to be everybody working on that team. I think they need a whole new team.
Well, I believe those are just summer helpers that are behind them, if I was not mistaken.
Well, I had my little friend, Robert Bobby Halls. He is on a different spectrum of what I thought patterns are. He says, yeah, the defense has been absolutely pristine and professional in behavior and character. He's trying to be sarcastic, y'all. It hasn't been anything but the prosecution, and they are all innocent defendants. He's trying to be sarcastic, guys.
Oh, that is definitely sarcasm.
Definitely comes in here and do this.
Just to ask a question, would you be surprised if a defense attorney was doing unethical things, trying to get his client off. I mean, that happens all the time. I mean, that's kind of expected,
What do you
but
mean?
not for prosecutors to do that as well. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of expected for you think that the defense attorney is turning a blind eye to some of the stuff he knows or what's going on. But a prosecutor, no way, man.
Okay, thank you, Dee Dee. Dee Dee put it up, that what you're talking about, Jones, LJL. This is the one, right? For the title is Georgia Gitmo. Is that the one?
Miss Sylvia, that channel is ANF, Atlanta News First.
I think she put it up just now. You see it?
You know I'm going to give you all the good stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna take a look at that. Hold on, y'all.
Yeah, that's it, Miss Sylvia. That's it.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. That's the one I played before. That's the one I played before. That's Mark Winnie.
It's hard to hear you, Sylvia.
Can you hear me now?
It's a little better, yeah.
So I have like some scratchiness on your side. It's probably your.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think that might be her side.
Did you see the one with Glanville and then the one with Bonnie, and then there's the one with the commissioner?
Yeah, I showed this. I played this about several months ago. I played this.
Yeah. She got very defensive in the middle, and she talks about RICO charges, what they were previously doing. She did give a different backlog number and said they were all caught up. And then in her new one that she released a month ago, which I did save as well, you can get that one. She said the backlog wasn't cleared.
Yeah, she can't hear me, can she?
Yeah, it's crazy that both her RICO cases have fallen apart.
Yeah, she can't hear me, can she?
Yeah, I think that's on her end, Miss Sylvia.
Yeah.
What you say, Miss Sylvia?
I played this already. I played this a few months ago.
You did?
Yes. I played
I
this.
didn't see that one.
It's in my my I have over 3,000 videos.
Oh no.
Yeah, I did this one and I gotta find out. Hold on, let's tell you.
So what was your thought on it?
A hot mess. I did talk about it. And I talked about how they still weren't meeting the criteria of their of Fulton County. They were still backed up. And even though she claims that they had fixed and they were working and taking care of all the backlog, but not all of it was done. It's not. And because there are still cases, because I even talk about the guy who's been in jail for 5 years and have not been indicted yet. And his case was just recently thrown out, but he was in jail for 5 years, no indictment.
I did watch the trial where the other co-defendants that were severed for the original, that they all rejected their offers. And rightfully so, because they obviously see, what is happening and what is going on. I thought that was a real good one. I thought that was super good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that guy that's sitting there for 5 years without getting indicted, he should be able to sue them because that's crazy.
He should, definitely. But
Now,
I think it's border Georgia.
The big question, Miss Sylvia, is, do you think the Department of Justice will weigh in?
I don't know.
I believe that it's caught the eye of so many people, and there's so many people that has offered to help, these attorneys, and even firms, had offered to write, different things and just like keep tabs. There's so many people that want to help out because they're viewing this and they're seeing this. So my stance is, where is the state at right now? Are they like, okay, well, Glanville's out, let's continue? Or how do you reel the jurors back in? Because the case is tarnished.
It's very tarnished.
Beyond repair.
Yeah, I think
and
they should do a federal investigation to their whole office.
Do you think that their standpoint will change now that Glanville is recused?
Not sure. Not sure.
Have you been back?
Unfortunately, not.
Say it again. What did you ask? Can she hear me?
It
I
was
think he went
Dre's
out again.
comment.
Go ahead, Dre. What did you say?
No, I said unfortunately, I think they're gonna try to move full steam ahead. I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna try to still get a conviction by any cost. I don't think they're gonna want a mistrial. I don't think they're gonna want a dismissal. I think they're gonna try to move ahead, act like nothing happened. It's sad, but it's true. I mean, I think the right thing for them to do is either start a new trial or dismiss it. But they're gonna keep going ahead like they didn't do anything wrong because they don't think they did anything wrong.
Well, I think the debate would be what Judge Krause had put in one, and you could tell that she was trying to be professional and didn't want to seem as if it was something to the effect, Miss Sylvia. What did she say? But for the public's view.
Yes,
That
basically,
he should,
she was
or
saying the public. The reason why she did it is because the public deserves a fair trial, and she don't think that the public would think it's a fair trial if he stayed on.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the part that got me, because as a judge, you're not thinking about the people as in we the people that are viewing. You should be thinking about the ones that have been sitting in jail with no bond, that is sitting on this type of non-evidence. That should have been more of the issue for her. So the recusal and having it reassigned, I just really believe that Fulton County should not be hearing this, because regardless of what anybody feels, Glanville is a chief judge. So everything ultimately will go through him or go across his desk. And that's what a lot of people are missing. That regardless of who you have as a judge from there, the same desk that it's going to go across is the same desk that has been recused. So there's automatically going to be a conflict of interest. And for that, every judge of Fulton County should recuse themselves, because right now it's hot potato.
And I think that's why she didn't want to throw him under the bus as well too. I think that's why she worded everything the way she worded it, is because she knows that he's still the chief judge, so stuff still got to go through him in a certain.
Well, that's what Judge Belinda did. She recused herself without no opinion, no anything. Recuse, okay, reassign. And right now it's hot potato, going from one judge to another judge. See what this judge says, and ultimately, that's not a fair trial.
And if they remove the judges, wouldn't that mean basically they would have to call this a mistrial and start somewhere else? So I think that's
absolutely,
that's
because
also a
like
big
you
problem
just
too.
said a minute ago, well, can't they just retry this and just start a new trial? No, it doesn't work like that. They would have to dismiss this with prejudice, and they would not be able to retry this, because that would be double jeopardy. So there's a lot of other corners that need to be touched on, that, Steele is doing a great job as giving these outlines, because one thing that he has stuck to his motions on are facts. He's putting videos with every single one that he's included. So it's nobody can say that his motions are based off of how he was treated within that courtroom. His motions are based upon facts, and that makes a huge difference. I believe just everything from the trial. There's so many aspects that, Miss Sylvia, it's hard to go into one without going into 5 others, things, because there's so much substance to it. But I really think that coordinating what we just spoke on, Miss Sylvia, would make a tremendous difference, because you would have the people, as in we the people, from all over the United States that would come in and be right there on them steps. And they could get the message that no matter where you're at in the United States, we're watching and we see. And now it's putting pressure on other states and other counties and other courtrooms. This is not just there. There's a court case right now happening in Detroit, and there's references to this case. This case ultimately is going to make history. It's going to be one of those cases that are going to be cited in other appeal cases going forward. That's how big this is and how much the injustice has been here. So I just really feel like the true impact is going to come from the people. You have to put that pressure on, and it can't just be through motions. It has to be through every single dynamic. And that's how you get a win. You get it through supporting your colleagues, supporting, the people, knowing your law, and being truthful and factful. And that's one thing I love about Miss Sylvia's page. She will confront a lie in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds and let you know that is not what she said. And she will get it straightened out. So if you're looking for a channel to really follow with the facts, and she has the resources to be able to be in the inside and the outside, she's valuable. And I think, just being able to support her in what she's doing in her movement is my move. And what my organization, my company, and my firm, we stand with her. Because we see the hard work, we see the sweat, we see the tears, and the bonds, like Dallas said. But I got to get you on that every time, Miss Sylvia, because not you crying. You were ready to
I got a
go.
big question for you guys as far as that. If they move the trial, wouldn't they have to move it to a place where they would, quote unquote, be able to be judged by their peers? So
Yeah.
wouldn't they have to find a county that resembles Fulton County as far as like the urban community and stuff like that?
It would be like DeKalb County, or like Cobb, even Cobb County would match the demographic.
Yeah, so I just want to be sure on that. I just want to make sure they just can't take it anywhere now. It would have to still be somewhere where they would be able to be judged by similar peers.
But it's not going to move, y'all. It's going to stay in Fulton County.
Well, usually thumb rule is you're supposed to go one county over, whether it's to the east or to the west. It depends on caseload and assignment. But they're going to fight all the way to keep this in Fulton. Fani does not want this out of her reach.
I thought the new judge was gonna take over though. Hi, Miss Sylvia.
Hey, Danielle.
I thought the new judge was gonna preside.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, Ingram. Yeah.
So she's in Fulton, correct? Or,
Yeah.
Okay.
Fulton.
So yesterday, my kids called me and told me while I was driving, the judge had been recused. They told me I was too invested. I had to pull over because I was at work. So
I talked about the woes, and you have a woe.
my son said I was too invested. So do you think like the next thing will be definitely a bond, or it's just gonna be? I think it's just they're just gonna go to court and they're gonna dismiss it. I think it's just gonna be over.
Well, they're going to have hearings for those motions that are in, and then there's more motions that's coming in as of like some's going to be done today, and some's going to be done tomorrow, all the way up to Friday. There's going to be motions.
Yeah. I think that I just think it's just all the way around sad. It's honestly just sad. I think it's sad that they brought up the whole thing from Nut. They pushed that in there to try to get some type of role going, but they couldn't even prove who did that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think it's just all sad. They just used all of that and still didn't. They still haven't said what crime Jeff even committed.
Well, the crime that he supposedly committed is having guns in his house and having the drug on his counter and in the car. Those are the two crimes.
Okay, but I thought they didn't even bring that in court. Like, I thought, like,
There was different occasions. There was different occasion. The last time that they threw that one out, the one where it was inside his house and they had to return items, and you remember
right.
the jury guy, they had to return the jury and all that kind of stuff.
Was it marijuana?
It was some pills, it was marijuana, and it was some guns.
Okay.
And then there was a time when they stopped in the car, there was guns in the car. Because remember, Gunna and him was in the car, and Gunna said the gun did not belong to him.
So with the gun situation, he's not a felony, but I guess he wasn't licensed to carry or something.
No, not the license. Remember, it was one gun. They said it was a switch changed to be a different type of gun, and that's illegal.
Okay. Well, they should have just charged him with the gun and all of this stuff versus bringing up a entire RICO. It's just all.
Yeah, when they first got him, he had 2 charges, and then they added more charges, so he has a total of 8 charges. People don't understand it because when they first charged him back in May 2022, there was 2 charges, and then by the time July came around, they re-indicted him in August. I think it was in August. That's when they added the other ones, and there were more gang charges. It was the RICO, and then the gang charge, and then the gun and the drugs.
Okay, so my next question is the actual car that he rented. They tried to say that was at the scene of the Nut murder, but they didn't link that car to that murder, did they?
Well, they saw the car at the gas station a couple of hours prior to that. They did see the car.
Okay, they saw the car at the gas station, but they all live in the same town. I'm saying, like, when the guy got up on the stand to testify and said they didn't even ask him what kind of car it was at first. They didn't. He just said the dude hopped out the ceiling of the Bonneville, and he never. I'm just like, the car was at the gas station. It doesn't mean that it drove down the street. They live all in the same jurisdiction, though. Like, why?
Remember when I took the little field trip and I showed you guys how close everything was, how everything looked? So it was kind of like you can see the kind of car it was because the street is so small and narrow that it wasn't something that you should make a mistake on because it was right there. It's like a really small street. So for him, he definitely was able to see the type of car it was. It wasn't like it was so far away. And no, he could definitely see the type of car.
Didn't even ask him what kind of car it was. He just said it on the stand. He was like, the Bonneville drove past, the dude hopped out they didn't ask him, was it an Acura or anything like that.
And then also too, Miss Sylvia, the car grills that were on those videos did not match.
No, they did not. They not brought that to the attention of you guys. Remember when I did that live?
It did not match. I screenshot the screen and put it just through my AI generator, and it really just focused it in. And I can tell you, it's far off. Even the color tones of the cars were off by like 4 shades when you actually did the zooming in. So that was another thing that I had seen. And I believe that where I say, for instance, Love and Hilton went wrong, too, is they were focused on conviction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to look at it from both point of views. You have to be fair, to be unbiased, right? You got to look at it from both point of views.
Mm-hmm.
So the defense's job, they have to represent their client who is accused. They are right to face who's accusing them.
Mm-hmm.
And the state's job as an attorney, because they're attorneys as well, just because they're a prosecutor, a state prosecutor does not put them above. They're both still attorneys on both sides. But the state's job is to put forth the evidence to the jury. They focused on conviction. And that is where I started tuning my narrative very early in the very early days of the trial. I'm talking about day 5. Okay. I said, on day 5, Miss Sylvia, I said, this prosecution team is focusing on conviction based off of their opening statement. They're not focused on presenting the evidence in front of the jury. The jury has seen the eye rolling, the getting upset, the snatching the microphone, cutting other attorneys off at the podium, and even stand, close to them to, proceed to take over. Like I said, that is more than advocating for your client. At that point, this is character.
True.
So what do you think, or what is your perspective, Miss Sylvia, on when that perspective changed for you, just sitting on both sides watching, that it went from focusing on strictly conviction versus focusing on presenting all the evidence you have in front of the jury?
I think it started right around after the holidays, just around January, I would think, because that's when, the opening argument was kind of a little bit off too. And then when, I think it was it Bean? One of them, when they were.
Well, when have you ever seen an opening argument in any other trial be interjected with objections because they had to?
I've seen some, but not many. I've seen some.
I don't know if that's like a common thing, maybe for your county, but I know that it is advised against within ours to interject any opening statements.
Yeah, they frown upon it. They rather for you to let the person finish before you interject, because it's not like it's not any kind of thing of argument. Because you remember, opening statement is not evidence. It's just them giving a narrative of what they believe happened, or what they believe is what they're going to prove later on. So it's not evidence.
How, why did Woody take his page down? He was doing so well, so fast.
Because he has a publicist now. So I think they're rebranding him a certain way. So He's doing
That, you
things.
know, that's a great move, you know, on just to help really bring everything that has happened out to light.
Mm-hmm.
And bring it on the table, because he has way more insight than what we know. But he does seem like he's remorseful. He seems like he wants us behind him. He seems like he's just ready to start a new life and raise those kids. And that's just, you know, how we view it over here. He's truly likable off stand.
Yeah, he definitely is likable.
He is truly likable, but I love that he has Auntie taking him to church.
No, I went to church with him. It was his church.
Oh, you went? I thought you brought him with you.
Oh, I went to church with him.
Why you didn't? No, well, you can't be blogging in the church now. Okay, well, yeah.
I couldn't do
I was
it.
gonna say no, you can't be blogging in the church. My pastor probably would have put us out. But yeah, I just wish people could see that side of him. That's my hope. You know,
I don't think he's remorseful, because I don't think that he did anything like not that I'm not going to say I don't think he's remorseful. I don't think he should be remorseful. I think he did what all people were doing back in the day, like anything to get out of jail. Like I don't think there's nothing to be remorseful about. Like I just think he did what he had to do to stay out of jail, and he said it. I don't think and he said that on the stand. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, I told him anything. He told them what he knew they wanted to hear, to stay out, and they took it, they ran with it, they did what they wanted to do with it, and it never was about Woody. It was about the one with the money.
All right. Ashley said, beyond the RICO, at this point, the world is seeing prosecutional misconduct play out, and these defendants' constitutional right completely violated. Dee Dee, what do you think about that statement?
First of all, hi everybody
Hey.
on the panel and in the chat. Can you repeat that statement real quick? I was still
Okay. The statement is, beyond the RICO at this point, the world is seeing prosecutional misconduct play out, and these defendants' constitutional right completely violated.
I totally agree with that statement. One thing, you know, when you look at all these interviews that they're getting into evidence and that they're playing, these interviews happened 8, 9, 10 years ago. One thing that people, well, maybe most do, I don't want to generalize, it's an election year. They really don't care how they get a conviction. They don't even care if it's overturned. It's about being able to say they got the conviction, because that looks great when you're running for reelection. I don't think it was supposed to quite last this long when it first started. Never in my life heard about jury selection taking 10 months. But, you know, I guess it's come to light lately that it was dragged out because they kind of needed more time to do some other stuff. I actually got caught up in a case where I was a defendant, and
Sorry, y'all.
oh, that's okay. And
Go ahead.
things went a certain way with me because the sheriff was running for reelection. Um, I was well known in the community, and it was about getting a conviction with a name on it. It was so bad that everything that the detective said, in my case, we were able to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt. For instance, okay, when they were doing the interview, where were you? Were you in the room? No. We produced a video of her in the room during the interview. Did you lead the witness? No. We had a video of her telling the person my name, what I did, how I did it, what color this was, what color that was, everything. Even with all of this video evidence, the lies and everything, they kept on with the case because, like I said, it was an election year. Even with all that evidence, my case wasn't dropped until the elections was over, but they kept it hot. I was all over Facebook, the news, everything. But like I said, they didn't drop it until after the election was over because then, things get quiet. You can kind of quietly let it go. What they didn't expect, because of the type of person I am, I'm a volunteer at heart person. That's just what I do. They thought I would roll over and let it go, but I actually came back and I sued them. And the crazy part about it was, for my kind of case in the county that, the charges, I was facing 5 years in prison for something that was proven in video and everything else that I didn't do. I had the public defender come up to me and say, look, this is what you do. We'll let you plead guilty to a lesser charge. It won't be a felony. You don't have a criminal record. You've never been in trouble. Just go ahead and plead to this charge. You can go to pretrial intervention, do your classes, pay the $800. We'll expunge your record. It'll be like nothing ever happened. But the reason they wasn't able to get me was because they couldn't say, oh, do you want to see your children grow up? My children were adults. Oh, do you want to see? There was nothing that they could hang over my head that would make me say, yeah, I'll take the plea because, I don't want to take a chance of going to jail for 5 years. I told them, let's roll the dice. I'm ready to serve 5 years. And like I said, it was insane. And this is a regular occurrence in this county. And what they do is, when it no longer serves their purpose, they will pay you, here's $2,000. Sorry that you spent time in jail and, this wasn't a good case, blah, blah, blah. Well, I hit them hard because I didn't care. I had nothing to lose. And I only spent 2 days in jail, but it was I was 44 years old, never been in trouble with the law, and went to jail for something that absolutely no way in the devil I did. And yeah, they told me they maxed out at 20,000, and I looked at him and I said, what you did to my life, I won't settle for anything under 6 digits. Well, I pushed it all the way till time to start preparing for trial. They realized that there was no way they were going to win. All I had to do was play the one where she's telling the person my name, what I had on, what I did, how I did it, and all this kind of stuff. And so I said I won't settle for a dollar less than 6 digits, like I said. So for 2 days in jail, they had to pay me $100,000. Um, it does, and ever since then, because people saw what I went through and I went through the system, now when they're locking people up, they're being a little bit more careful because people are doing the same thing I did, and now they're having to pay a price for it. It is what it is. So it's not about justice all the time. It's not even about doing it the right way. It's about what you can say. As you know, bad information, it spreads a lot faster and wider than good information. Just to be able to say you got that conviction, no matter what happens afterwards, that's what I think that they're aiming for. I think that what Brian is doing is absolutely amazing. Just bombard them, bombard them, bombard them, because when it gets to a point where they're looking for an out, they'll find one. It's going to be the smallest out they can find. With all the evidence I had that I didn't do it, the excuse that they used was that the victim had died like 3 months prior. And that was the official reason they put for dismissing my case, when it really had nothing to do with anything. She actually passed away from, I think it was COVID. Um so, like I said, it's not about what's right and wrong. We can sit here and argue law, and in a perfect world, that's the way it should be. And that's what we want. But in the end, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. Judge Granville didn't just turn all of a sudden because he woke up and had a change of heart. There was people whispering things in his ear, high up people. He had no choice but to do what he was doing. You see how hardcore he was about not doing he had already denied them. There's things that go on behind the scenes that even though cameras are in the courtroom, it's not going to catch everything.
Yeah, the
So
Supreme Court got in his butt.
yeah. So, but it's crazy. I was one of those. I ended up lucky because I was just to the point where, you know, my reputation and the things I did in the community is what I took pride in, and they took that away. So at that point, it was like, I have nothing to lose. Do what you're going to do. What? The worst I got is 5 years in prison. Let's go. And in the end, they ended up paying me. So it is what it is. It's sad though. It's really, really sad.
Thank you for that one. Whew, Lord, I tell you, I understand, Dee. I understand. Trust me.
Also, what I find sad is how they tried to use lyrics to try to connect crimes. That's why I found crazy also. Like nobody could talk about anything without you thinking that they did crimes.
I mean, that's crazy. That's like, look at what's that Tyler Perry movie, Diary of a Mad Black Woman. So if something happened, is they're gonna say, oh, well, Charles liked to, I mean, if his real life, they're gonna say, oh, he liked to grab women by their hair and drag them and kick them out the front door. I mean, that's kind of the way I see it. It's a persona for what you do. That's what you're selling. So I think it's crazy that they were able to bring in lyrics. I think that was the craziest thing. That's like if you're an actor, they're going to hold your acting roles against you if you go to court for something. That doesn't make any sense to me.
All the rappers are black. So what does that tell you?
I feel like they're jealous. They want to go after their money.
Right. Oh, El Hombre. Yeah, I said it was lucky because I didn't do anything. Yeah, but you know what? One thing that I did learn, if it wasn't for those 2 videos, they could have said I did anything and they would have railroaded me like they do people all the time. So a lot of times it doesn't matter. Guilt doesn't matter.
Yeah, you have to have evidence that's going to prove you're innocent, because if you don't, trust me, it will railroad you in there.
Absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely.
And that's
So
why
not doing something don't matter.
sometimes these things here, it will be good. Because even in my case, this here, it tracks.
What is that? A recorder?
No, my phone.
Oh, your phone.
It tracks you. If you put your location, saves to track your location everywhere you travel, your phone will know. Will put even where you park, everything. So, and I'm saying this because of my situation, my case, that someone had reminded me, hey Sylvia, don't you carry your phone every? I said, yeah. And so I'm just waiting for my case to go to court. So that's it. And then I don't have to do any arguing, because here, this don't lie. Footprints don't lie.
Absolutely not. But I was wondering if they were absolutely going to use it in the case where they said the cell towers in the area at the time were actually down.
And see, that's my question, because the system that they have that does that tracking, that's not a cheap system. And if you have your DA on a stand saying basically, oh, that's not reliable, how do you go back and use it in a case? That makes no sense to me.
But they use it against other people.
Right.
Right. Right.
They
So how
they
do you
do.
justify that?
Yeah.
You can't, because I can tell you that the pinging, there's actually coverage on this and articles on this. And I believe a federal court case that is being heard right now in the state of Wisconsin for that. The cell towers were reading that the person was here, but the person was actually in a whole nother county deceased. And that phone was on them the entire time, pinging a different location. So I was waiting for defense to bring that up, because I followed that one pretty closely, because I said, well, how can the cell tower be pinging in a whole nother county, and that cell phone had been with the deceased in 4 counties over?
But if you share, like sometimes phones may share each other's thing at the same time. Because when I worked at Verizon, they have a thing where it links each other some kind of way. So it could be another phone on that same account that they.
Oh, you mean the family finder, where you can track where your kids are, they can track where you are.
Yeah, but there's something where it linked the two together, and it might have like a clashing thing. I forgot what it's called, but they have that, but you have to put it into your phones. It's not for everybody. Everybody doesn't have it. It's just that it is called a family thing.
Yeah. So I have that, like my kids that are in college, like I'm able to see where they're at. I'm able to see where my son is, what he's doing, just to make sure he's okay, since he's in another state or whatever, and I'm out and about. But for this case, they were adamant that that phone and that person was in this like particular location. They have busted the door down with a warrant. It happened to be an elderly lady who lived inside. Nothing that they were looking for, and the cell phone was still pinging to that location. And they happened to find the body and the cell phone still pinging to the elderly woman's home, but like I said, in 4 counties over. So what they are trying to prove for that case is those can be manipulated and erased and re-entered manually. So they should not be reliable because they're edible. So there's a difference. So when they sat on the stand and said, the accuracy wasn't really there from that one that was on there, that was interesting, because that was the state's perspective. She had said, I think it was for Woody, that he was so far away from it. And then one of the defense got up and said, actually, no, it's only, it's this close. That's right down the road. So the differential on that was pretty big, even for that case. So I was wondering if defense was actually pulling more resources to look into that, because yours would be different on that program because it tracks your every single whereabouts under that app.
Yeah, see, you have to put it. You have to put it on. Enable this for this one here, that it tracks everything, every parking spot you do, everywhere you go. And not everybody put enabler on there because they don't want people to see them or anything like that.
Right. But when you do have it on, the disclaimer on that shows that it is 99.9 accurate.
Yeah.
When you do enroll to that. And I think it is a good idea if someone has like pending charges or something against them that they know they're wrongfully accused of, to definitely enroll in that program with someone that you trust, to know your every whereabouts, even if it's, not a family member, even if it's just somebody from your church or somebody from your job or somebody that you really can trust, because in situations like this, it benefits to have those type of things.
Yeah.
Because the cell tower, the report is edible. You can erase where it was pinging and where it was not pinging. And the only way that you would have that clarification is if you would subpoena if there was any basically redactions.
So what you're saying, somebody can always go into the cell tower and manually change it?
So what happens is every single phone is on a cell tower and it pings. And when it pings on that location, it records the hour, the second, the exact time, which tower, all of the information. When you go to run that report, if there's like a double, say like a double entry that wasn't supposed to pick up like a double entry, you can go in and delete that. So those are very easy to argue against because, like I said, they're edible. So they really do not stand up in court the way that people try to use them. If you watch court cases, they really hold no significance because of the argument that is out there for that. So unless you're enrolled into a program, as Miss Sylvia stated, that's very different. You can even find your car with that app. I've lost my car in a parking garage, and I was able to go on there and know the exact location where I parked at. So like I said, it would have to be with a trusted second party that you would trust to have your every single footsteps where they can see that. But if you're not enrolled into that app or into that program and that report is ran or you go in there, the thing is you don't never know who's connected to who.
That's
And
true.
you don't never know who has resources within certain departments because I have connections near, dear, and far. But that's not to display. So that's the whole thing. You don't know where they're coming from on that, and you don't know the connection. And I think that's very, very, very important. I think another important, valuable aspect that people should look at too is the sorority connections that happen within the courtrooms as well. So if you have a particular attorney and a particular state attorney, or it could even be a defense attorney, they attended the same school, they're the same sorority, they have a brotherhood and a sisterhood that they owe each other. And so when you come across them in the professional field, it is a conflict of interest, and it very much should be in the workplace and should be talked about because it's a different loyalty owed. And that can interrupt cases. And that can interrupt people's interest to turn them unbiased to biased based off of the underlying connection. And if you go into each of their profiles, you will see who is connected in that way.
Delta. They Delta Sigma Theta.
Not all. There's two oddballs in there that are not. And that just came forth last week. So that's just another aspect to add into it, to look at it. What do you think on that, Sylvia?
As far as well, my sister's the Greek, one of those sororities, and she doesn't follow any sisterhood or anything like that. She's a little bit different. So there are people who don't follow all that. So it's a hit and miss. Now, if you have those that are active and really, really, really into that sisterhood, yeah, I would agree with that. But my sister's one that doesn't into that. And I'm a me 5 me, so I'm not part of none of that stuff.
And so it would be different, but it's still something to take into account. Because for one, you don't know their depth. For two, you don't know their participation. And three, you don't know their outside dealings. And what people don't understand is that can reflect inside the courtroom. And it can turn out to be unfavorable to a certain party. So it's just another dynamic because you do have some people that are really strong and stand behind it.
Yeah.
I have a colleague that is firm. She will do anything that they ask of her. And I respect that type of loyalty. I do. But I think that it should in no way cross into line of work for professional. It should strictly stay to certain areas. And that's all, you know, it's not really talked about with this case. But there are certain groups that they are tied in that.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think this trial will go, even though you were given August of 24?
Well, I don't think that's possible now with everything with the pause and stuff like that. If
Mhm.
they do not do a mistrial, I think we're gonna go all the way into next year. As if the mistrial doesn't happen.
I would say the absolute latest after elections.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you feel about the conflict of interest with pledging for political?
Oh, it's definitely a factor. It is definitely a factor. And what people don't see is a lot of times you'll see like judges for the defense, I'm sorry, attorneys for the defense, um, DAs eating out together. You'll see them going golfing together. You know, it's one of those communities where they're constantly intermingling in one way or the other.
And striking deep.
So, right, you scratch my back on this case, and I'm gonna scratch your back on this one. It happens, and that's why I said it is amazing. It is a great idea to have cameras in the courtroom, but it's not catching a lot of things that are happening.
Yeah, that's very true. That that's a good way to look at it, and I believe it is. I remember a point in time where Glanville had said, and I believe it was when Melnick said he would report DA Love to the bar because she was very well under the impression she knew that Woody was represented by his office. And her representation to that was very interesting. And you could definitely, then when Glanville came in and said, well, I've known, or it might have been with Steele, might not have been Melnick, it might have been Steele. Sylvia, you may remember this, where he says, well, I've known Love and Hilton for a very long time, and I don't believe they would do something like that. And those were almost, if not verbatim, almost his exact words. Do you remember that, Miss Sylvia?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so that right there shows that even though there was a situation before you that had been proven that Love did do this, you automatically took your relationship with them and said, I don't believe she would do this. And that right there shows that you're not able to do your professional job due to your personal relationship.
Right. And one thing that I've never understood, and there's been so many motions that came out, so I'm not sure which one. I don't know if it was the judge's order that just came out or what, but they were mentioning, like when they talk about who was in the judge's chambers, they'll say the judge, they'll say Love, they'll say Hilton, they'll say Woody, they'll say his counsel. But here's the thing, that kind of gives you one picture, but then now picture this. You already know that he has issues with the police. Okay, so there's 4 officers, or from if I'm understanding correct, at least 4 officers in there, which more than likely he's had some kind of contact with. You have him just getting out of jail. And if I can't remember which interview, I've watched so much on this, but they were saying that he was actually still handcuffed when he was there. He had on, the handcuffs, the belly chains, like all of that. That adds to the air of him being intimidated into making these decisions. But I really haven't heard, somebody said it. But when you add those factors to the fact that already the judge is in there and the officers and stuff, that
Well, I
adds
guess,
even more pressure to the situation.
yeah, I guess I hear what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but I disagree on that part because you got to remember he was still in custody. So those handcuffs are still going to be there. The guards still have to be there because regardless of what is happening, that shouldn't have happened. They should have been in open court. And, there's obviously sheriffs in there for anyone that is in custody to escort them in and out. You have to remember that he was still in custody and technically he was in transport. Because
Okay,
he
so
should have been in the courtroom, not in the chambers. And once he was getting ready to come out is when he should have been on cuff. But seeing that they never got to open court, they're just like, we're just going to keep you cuffed. You're in custody still. I feel like being in the chambers was an intimidation, but him being in custody, the cuffs are expected in the guards because he was transported. But the bringing them in the chambers and having all of those individuals present is definitely pressure. It's
that's a
definitely
lot of people.
pressure. It's a lot of people, and you have to remember there was another YouTube blogger that had been in those same exact chambers that gave a description of what those chambers are look like and what those chambers like basically how it's sized. There was no client.
It's a
Huh?
big office. It's a big office. It's a big office.
Like
But
a
you know what? I don't
rectangle
care.
is what they described. So
I
there
don't
was
care.
no privacy.
But here's the thing. I am going to feel a lot easier if I'm restricted, I have cuffs, I have things around my ankles, I have belly, all this. That alone is an intimidation in itself. They must not have felt he was a danger. They let it, he wasn't cuffed when he was on the stand. He wasn't purged until after he showed that he was going to testify. And they have the choice. They could have taken them off. They could have taken them off. And I'm sorry, did it really take 4 people for him?
Well, what my
Especially with
specul
him being in chains. Especially with him being in chains.
with my
It was
speculation, it was 2 that transported them, and the other 2 were supposed to be the lookout. If you do remember in the ex parte transcripts, it did read that there was a disruption for a moment. They had to pause because there was a security issue. Now, what type of security issue would there be in a judge's chambers if you are in an ex parte meeting? The only thing that you would have security concerns is if they knew that you guys were in their meeting. Is what I had speculated. Like I said, that is speculation. I don't know, but I could see them having 4, 2 for transport and 2 at them doors.
And here
And that
again,
right
if
there
he is the
shows.
chief if he is the chief judge, if there's a security issue anywhere in that courthouse, he's going to be notified of it. So there's nothing saying that it had anything to do with what was going on in that room.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't say that it had to do with nothing going on in the room. But I mean, 2 and 2 together, what other security breach is there? You guys are secretly having this meeting. The only thing that you're going to worry about is obviously court was postponed that day for what, Sylvia, 2.5 hours?
You gotta remember, they're on the 8th floor, and the judge's courtroom is right there. So there might have been something with security breach with his court, because his chamber is right behind his courtroom.
Connected, correct?
Yeah, they're not really connected. They have to go around.
I just think it's a huge assumption to assume that it had anything just particularly to do with that particular situation. If he is the chief judge, he is basically the chief administrator. If anything is going on anywhere, he's going to be notified. And if you look, he was gone, was it 2 minutes?
That's what it was, literally minutes. But I had initially thought it was defense counsel inquiring on what is going on. Because obviously, if court is postponed, you can see missing parties if everyone's waiting, right? Miss Sylvia, if you walk in, your view, just like from your view, if you're walking in and court is postponed that day, you see all the defendants, you see all of defense counsel, and the only ones that are missing is the judge, the witness for that day, which they knew that it was Woody because he was in custody from the day before, or that Friday before. They let him sit the weekend and then re-adjourned on that Monday. So if you're looking at that, Miss Sylvia, and you're walking in, would it be easy to notice that DAs aren't there?
Hilton was there. Hilton was downstairs with us, and then she went upstairs because remember, Hilton was in the courtroom that was in front of ours because I thought that she was going to be covering the plea deal, which I thought was going to happen for Jimmy Winfrey.
Okay.
So the only person wasn't there at the time was Love and the judge, and I didn't see anybody else. So when I started going upstairs to look, and that's when I saw Kayla. But and I think Hilton left at that point, but she was downstairs originally with the rest.
So
Well, I guess I'm just
back to the
hesitant to
question.
assume.
But back to the question, Ms. Sylvia, would you be able to notice just walking in for the day that certain parties are missing, or would that not be something that you would take an eye to on every day of walking in? They come in at all different times.
Every day the state comes in together, so, and they usually come, and sometimes they stand in between the two doors. So and I mean, I didn't find any different because there was times when you didn't see Brown or you didn't see this person, you don't think anything of it. It's just that they're not there.
Okay. But with such a delay that morning, that particular morning, with such a long delay being a couple hours.
But the judge has done that before. He's been late hours.
Yeah,
before.
right.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. But I would just remember Steele saying that he was speculating what was happening that morning because he wasn't given a true of what the delay was. I remember him saying something to that effect. And he made sure that he had put it on record. So I thought that was another, good thing. I thought they would have inquired more of what that security breach was, or, if it pertained to the trial, if it did not.
You didn't know anything about the security breach until you read the transcript.
Right.
Yeah.
The security breach was happening on the 8th floor.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm just a little hesitant to assume when there could be such a wide range. It could be somebody getting rowdy at the medical detectors. Like a security breach could be such a larger range of different things. I guess I'm just a little hesitant to say it had to have something to do with that situation.
I'm not saying what I said is I speculated why there was 4 guards because I would think that they were having 2 or 3 as a lookout for them. Which, like I said, that's speculation. That's what I initially thought when I read that transcript. Was it such a hush hush? I need somebody at the doors, make sure, nobody knows that we're in here meeting with a sworn in witness. Or like Miss Sylvia said, no, because it's been delayed several times. I mean, you think of that, yes, 10-minute breaks turn into 2 hours.
But you got to also
remember
the judge always have more than one person security. He has no one, and he's always has the ones that goes up there whenever he's upstairs, and they be in that area with them. So it's not anything different.
Yeah, that's why I had asked, like, how the setup was.
When Brian Steele had was talking in court, and he was saying like he didn't understand why there was guards here, and tactical gear and all of that. But not to switch the question, I have a question for Auntie.
Okay.
Do you know who the mole was?
Don't ask me that question. I don't know.
You don't know.
Mm-mm. Y'all
Miss
keep trying to get me to say something. I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I don't know.
Miss Sylvia, what do you say on that? You say it's moot.
It's mute.
I can give my opinion. I honestly think that all the person had to do was to
Because let
make
me
a
let me let
call.
me let me say something first. Listening to Brian Steele, he said this is, and I've been thinking about this. He said, I'm not gonna tell you, I don't need 5 minutes, and he said it was client privilege. Then he said it was I think work
Work
product.
product.
So
Mhm.
when he say that his client is Jeffrey, so I don't know. I'm thinking maybe.
I'm not speculating, y'all. I'm not doing the speculation stuff.
And I'm not
No, I don't
speculation
want
on
you.
a person.
I don't want you to speculate, Auntie. Let the chat do it. When he
If you
said when he said it was work product, he said it was client privilege. Somebody told Jeffrey.
No, work product doesn't necessarily mean it had to come from his client. If it's anything to do with his client, it can be classified as work product.
What about client? What did he say at first? It was before he said work product.
He said attorney client, which means it would have come from Jeffrey. He changed it, if you notice, because it didn't come from Jeffrey. Work client attorney client privilege means it came from his client. Work
Right.
product mean it came from somebody around his client. But you have to understand, Kayla has already admitted that she was the one that gave the details.
No, 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 no,
All you
no.
have to
Oh,
do
she
is
said
She didn't
no.
say
No, she
that.
didn't
Oh,
admit
No,
that.
no, she
She
didn't
did
no,
say
not
no, no,
admit
that.
that.
wait, I worded that wrong. I worded that wrong. Hold on. She was asked and she
No,
verified.
she said by the time that she got back upstairs, she was talking to them. She was like, they already knew.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. All it would have taken is a quick phone call
she said
to
they
alert
already
them.
knew. She said they already knew.
But that's
That's
what she
what she
says. They already
verified.
knew. But
Yeah.
has she, I mean, I know she's done several interviews, but did she say what they knew?
They
No,
knew
no,
it. They
Because
knew it
it
was.
could be
They knew
something
it.
as simple as they just knew the meeting happened.
she did clarify it on a couple of her interviews. And what she said was that there would have been no time for her to be the mole because she
To
was
even do it.
escorted to the
Yep.
chambers and escorted to the courtroom.
Right.
And the defense counsel had already knew. They
When she
reviewed camera footage and seen that she was talking to them on the break, but they had already assumed,
not the
Glanville
break
assumed.
before she even went in the
Right,
courtroom.
right,
She's
They already knew.
she
right.
said they knew. But what did so did they know that that a meeting took place? She didn't say that they already knew the details. She said that they knew about it.
No, she did speak on it in another interview where
And
she
like I said, I
said,
haven't seen all of them. Yeah.
so she did clarify that, and she never came out and said that she was the mole, but she said that defense counsel knew on the break
No,
when they came or before the break, and they
I'm
she
did
not
flat
saying
out
not
she's the
said
say
mole.
anything.
she flat out
She
said she didn't tell. She said it wasn't me.
Correct.
didn't tell that the meeting happened. It's a play on words. She didn't tell that the meeting happened. Like for instance, if I knew that Sylvia was at Arby's and she ate a burger and she had a milkshake and she had fries and this, that, and the other. I called somebody and said, hey, Sylvia's at Arby's.
I totally get what you're saying.
But I already saw that, what's your name? Danielle. Danielle
Mhm.
was at Arby's too. So I just said that Miss Sylvia was at Arby's. So
Right.
now I go to Danielle and I'm like, yo, Danielle, I heard that Sylvia was at Arby's and you was there too. Can you verify?
Yeah, I think it
And
was pretty
then
clear, though, in her interview. She said she was escorted to the chambers, escorted back. Still did mention, I believe, in a motion and at the podium, he had the information even before they broke before lunch. But he was awaiting to see when this
If
was
the
going to
court
be
was gonna
announced.
yep,
Correct. If the courts were going to inform them of
that's
this
true.
secret ex parte meeting.
He
Um,
knew. You
so
right.
so that was the problem, and I can see where you probably got a little bit confused because some of them, some of the interviews, it kind of did seem like that, and then other interviews she did give more, and then was able after they Glanville had dismissed, you know, the motion to show cause hearing. That's where she was able to clarify a little bit more. And I think that's where, Danielle, that's what you're speaking on, right? Where she was saying of the escorted back and forth and they had already knew previous to the break. So I don't think that's what it is. And regardless of who the mole is, it's really of no significance because this shouldn't have never been a secret anyway.
exactly.
The law states, that this was not to happen this way.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
true.
So
and if I made it sound like she was the mole, no, I'm not saying she was the mole. If I understand right, she said that she basically filled in what they didn't know. All I'm saying is the mole didn't necessarily have to have an hour-long time to tell them all the details.
no,
I,
absolutely not. And
I
it could
don't
have
believe
been
that she was the initial. Do I believe she's the person that initially told them? No, she filled in details, is what
Who,
I believe.
who do
But
you think? Who do you think told?
it could be anybody. It could be a disgruntled man. They don't pay me enough for this. It could have been one of the deputies. It could have been anybody. It could have been as simple as somebody seeing them walk in the room that notified them to it.
That's true.
There, there's just so many, and you got to understand when you're in that kind of a world, it's kind of cutthroat. It could be, and this is just throwing something out there. What if Hilton thought that she should be the lead on it? And instead they decided that Love would be the lead on it.
Okay, I have a question. I'm happy that you brought Hilton up. Miss Sylvia, was that the day that Hilton was crying?
No.
no.
Okay, okay,
Mm-mm.
okay.
I don't think that's what it is because if I'm not mistaken, Miss Sylvia, in the beginning, the reason for the big old delay for that trial to start and why it took so long for them to pick the jurors is because the state needed more time to gather the evidence and the information due to the lead DA that was initially supposed to be on the case was taken off of the case and then left. He had either resigned or and he had left. And whatever work he had put into that case from that point, he walked away with that.
I gave
Um,
that information out.
I know where it came from. It came from, and you see how well I put that together because Miss Sylvia, I've been day one with you. So,
That's
I
true. That did
so
happen.
Yep. So with that being said, I don't believe that's what it is, but I believe that what we're seeing now, and just like the tussle, the constant notes that are being shoved to Hilton when she's trying to speak and things like that, you can see, the tussle over the microphone and those type of things. You can see the
Right.
disagreement now. And of course that doesn't look good because Love is a chief DA and Hilton is not. But truth be told, and let's be honest here and keep the forum with all facts, Hilton is carrying the case. Because she has attempted to clean up a lot of Love's mistakes. And
Right.
if you look at it from a professional standpoint, that is
That's
not
true.
usually typically what you would see from a chief and an assistant. It should be the chief instructing the assistant DA to not make faces, to not roll eyes, to not show emotions in front of the jury. You have to remember their table is closest to those jurors. So they are getting every single raw reaction of a chief DA firsthand. Before they see the defendants, before they look at the judge, before they look at Miss Sylvia there, before they look at anybody there, Love's table is the first one aside to that jurors. And so when you see those things, they see those things. So can you imagine putting yourself in the mind of the jurors and they're seeing these things? Of course they've seen social media. Glanville has repeated, stay away from social media, stay away from this, stay away from talks, but can you really logically, and this is a
No.
global case.
No.
And that is where I speak on the jurors being tarnished. The case is tarnished.
It's
The
absolutely
evidence.
tarnished. Everybody from Atlanta to St. Louis know that the jurors is on social media. Let's be clear. If
And
you're not
what
on
other
social media, you're on the
courtroom?
news. Yeah.
But what other courtroom have you seen take 1 year for jury selection?
You're right.
And what jurors have you seen sit on a case that went through so many jurors? I mean, they're on their reserves. It's critical on every single aspect of that case. It's critical. But I do give a big shout out to the defense that is working tirelessly. You know, it has got to be, it has to weigh on you that you truly cannot advocate for your client the way you need to. You have to hold back some things because you don't know how the judge is going to react. And he's already put you in contempt once. There is no way for that judge or that defense attorney to go forward and have an unbiased relationship due to that. And then wait 3 weeks for him to report, and you chose Father's Day weekend. That
You
was
know what?
personal.
I really didn't think that he was gonna do it for real. I it was his way of trying to get Brian to break. And when Brian didn't break and called him on it basically, because he sounded real.
Okay, ladies, I have somebody who tried to get up here before, and you guys, I didn't want to disrupt y'all, but go ahead, CEO.
I'm sorry. Hi, CEO.
Hi. Oh,
Okay, we lost him again. Sorry. Go ahead, Danielle.
He's driving, Miss Sylvia. I wonder if it's his connection.
I was thinking when he did the contempt, and I know you were there, Sylvia, Miss Sylvia. I'm sorry. I just felt like I really didn't think he was gonna do it for real. I think he played. That was him saying, "I'm the judge. You're gonna do what I say." I don't think that he thought that Mr. Steele was gonna be like, "Well, just take me," because he sounded like, because when he finally did it, like his voice dropped, and I'm thinking, you really
but
doing this?
but as an attorney, a lot of your money comes from your reputation.
Hey,
So, and
Okay,
and
y'all.
plus, I
Let,
feel that
let,
Steele
him,
is
let,
really
let
sincere.
him say something, y'all, before he dropped.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay.
how y'all doing?
Hello.
Hi.
Fine.
Hey, Miss Sylvia, I'm a big fan. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like this case really hit the rails when you remember they had said the three founders of YSL when it's like near the beginning it was DK and it was somebody else and they really couldn't prove it because still asked the important question. He was like, so what have you really contributed to YSL? And to me it just looked like Young Thug is just a guy that tried to provide for people and he can't control what they do on the outside because he's always gone. And they get themselves in trouble. He try to help them out, but you can't keep putting your hands in the streets, especially. It's gonna get bit every time. So that's how I look at it. And with this judge thing, it's been crooked since the beginning, also, because the leading statements, the opening statements they've been making, and stuff like that. So I just wanted to put my input in. That's it.
Thank
Can
you.
y'all hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes,
heard.
thank you.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out how to come up here. I don't know how to work this thing. I'm sorry about I'm sorry about all that.
That's a very good input, though, CEO. Because
Right.
if you really look at it, though, did anybody really expect anything less?
Right.
You have to remember that this was, or this still is, he's a part of military for, like they said, 30 something or 20 something years. I don't quote me on the amount of years. So you have to think military mind.
Right.
And a lot of that plays into his courtroom, and a lot of America has seen that military mind really did play. Just like example we seen when he doubled down and went ahead and ordered the show cause hearing. Okay, that is a military thing. You're supposed to double down on that.
In the
And
military, even when you're wrong, you're right.
Right.
and so as I watched that, I knew that it was coming from a military space. And then when you would see the change in, tone where he would go off and how he walked off when Steele was presenting the ex parte, and how he did that. He recessed standing up as his back was turned. And so these are all things that you look at and you have to consider. He's had to been through quite a bit of things. He has an emotional support dog. So that needs to be a topic off of this case on the side that needs a closer look at the mental stability of these judges as well. Because if you are going through any type of hardship, they should be able to take a break away and not be over people's lives where, they can send people away for 25 years based off of your bad day. Is what I'm saying is we look at all those different things. Like in my line of work, your mental health is first. And if there's anything that shuffles on that, you immediately have to be off of work. Because it will change your decision making based off of the emotional things that you're going through. So I think that's another aspect and topic that needs to be touched on outside of this case. I have never seen a judge other than a movie have to have their support dog in the chambers at all times.
I think we could have been about 4 or 5 months further along if it wasn't all the comfort breaks. That's crazy. You would think military mindset, it would be running, on time, but it's crazy. Well, I gotta hop down. I'm gonna grab me something to eat, but my predictions are, if it gets past all of the motions that are out there and that need to be resolved, I think that the latest that it will go on will be after elections. Thank you so much, Miss Sylvia, for letting me up. Thank you guys for sharing the panel with me, and you guys enjoy the rest of your day.
You're welcome.
Bye,
Thank you.
Dee Dee.
All right, guys, we're about to close out now because I'm gonna find out where my guest is if he's gonna come on.
Thank you for letting me on, Miss Sylvia. I appreciate it.
Miss Sylvia, I left you a message on
got
the chat. Okay. So we'll talk soon. Just text me and I can send you over what we can do to help support with that for Mr. Williams.
okay.
Okay. Okay. You guys have a great one.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
All right, everyone. We are done. See you later, Danielle. We are done. Thank you, everybody, for your support. First, I want to thank those who sent a super chat. Thank you, A Cut Above. Thank you, Sarita Royal. Thank you, Latricia Shaw. Thank you, Black Butterfly. Thank you, Ashley Linnell. Thank you for you guys a super chat. I appreciate you with the blessings that you have. I ask God to give you more than 1,000-fold of what you have sowed into this platform. So thank you again. I'm going to see where my guess is, if it's going to happen today. If not, we will. I'll be back live to bring another topic. If not, you will see his the notification for him to come on, and that is Mr. Matthew. He has a lot of cases that he's doing, but I just want to make sure he hasn't forgotten about me, because I did send him a message earlier this morning. I haven't talked to him recently. So, but don't forget, Thursday, I did confirm with Mr. Max Shard, Max Shard, and it's going to be 7 o'clock on Thursday that he will do an interview here. And I know he already did an interview with Megan Cutter. So I will be back. I'll see you guys later. God bless. God bless. Bye.